Good evening, guys.
Hello, everyone. It is Monday night. It is time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and I still have to hold things down for Jen as she works on her technical difficulties behind the scenes. Are we all good now?
I'm here. I was here just for some reason when I come in, sometimes I don't see the red background and I know that something isn't right with my link. But for some reason, once I come back in, once the countdown is going, then it's fine.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, it's weird. Anyway, we're here.
Yeah, we're here, and we've hit another little bit of a surge. I keep telling you guys, I really want Jen to live long enough to see us hit 100,000 subscribers.
You could see it that way, or you could see it that he wants to get rid of me, and the sooner he gets to the 100 grand, he feels like I'll be ready to go.
Well, I mean, I guess that's one way of looking at it, but needless to say, we are on another little bit of a growth spurt. We are, as of right now, 149 subscribers away from 52,000 subscribers. Woo! Like I said, we're on the other side now of getting to 100,000. So, Jen, we got to the top of the mountain. Now we're slowly starting to go down the mountain to where 100,000. It's in the valley. You can see.
I don't know about that. I don't think so.
It's down there. It's look who decided to show up. Look who decided to show up.
Oh, Metal, where have you been?
Metal probably found out we covered Nick Fuentes a couple of times, and now he's all excited about coming back to check us out. Well, at least he never changed his profile picture from the Monopoly and the evil.
No, but Metal's a testament that we have such a wide variety of people here.
Yes. And I'm glad you like the new look. It does seem overwhelmingly that people do agree with our new look. So you can thank Jen for that. That was definitely not that I was against it. I thought it was
no.
Perfect.
You brought a lot to the equation there. I needed something a little bit more inflammatory.
Well, we have never been we've never been ones to beat around the bush. That's like I said, Metal, don't change. Just keep being the same inflammatory that you are.
No, basically, we walk this very fine line between me going off the left cliff and Peter being like, no, we can't go that far. But the thing is, it's like we're definitely dipping over there to the point where, it could all get shut down. So you guys should definitely check us out on Patreon. And we might have to further expand our Rumble outreach because I don't know.
I've been getting quite a few messages lately of people asking us, are we on Rumble? Just in case if we ever get shut down. I'm like, yeah, we do have a Rumble account.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it is running right now, as far as I know. You guys can check us out there. If you,
I have not checked out. I have not looked at our Rumble account in a really long time because I think maybe we've had at best a few people ever that on that platform. It's definitely not. And hey, if that's where people want to be, I'll be on Rumble. Trust me, I am not married to Google by any stretch.
Well, no, as far as I know, that is the case. As you know, one of our favorites, Butch Ware, who is the Green Party candidate for governor of California. So he'll be on here at the top of the hour. There is a very important debate that Politico is hosting in 2 nights. And guess what?
What?
They do not have Butch on the roster. What a surprise.
Shocking.
Yeah.
So it's between Katie Porter and who?
There's there's nobody else. I mean, in terms of a noted person in the Democratic Party running for governor, no, it's Katie Porter. She's definitely
but so then is the debate only amongst Democrats? Because
then pretty much. But then again,
then why would he be there? Then he wouldn't.
No. I mean, it's an open. I think Steve Hilton, I believe is his name. Steve Hilton's a Brit who had a show on Fox News for a while. He is the Republican candidate running for governor, and so he's going to be there. But for whatever reason, they don't think that Butch should be there. But here's the reason it's a big deal. Butch was actually the most well-received candidate at the forum. They had. So Jason Call is in the chat. They do have GOP candidates there. So it's a freeze out. There's no question. Okay. So the SEIU in Oakland did a candidate forum about a week ago. And it appears that Butch was the most well-received candidate at that forum amongst the rank and file. So immediately, all the guardrails have to go up. We got to sandbag this guy in every which way possible. So
wait, can we address this? And this is something that I'm putting out there. And if Colin, you might be able to let me know what's going on here. But when we started, we were on Spotify and we were on the Apple one, whatever that was, the iTunes or whatever it was, right? And then I noticed, like, the last time I checked, that we aren't, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know what stopped, or if somehow I don't know. But we should be on that. So my plan is to be on that, and I don't know why we're not on that. So.
Well, Colin says that he's not. Colin says he's not familiar with it, but I could ask Ben if he is.
Yeah, because we were on Spotify and the Apple one, and then we're not. So obviously, and we were not before the brand switch, so it has nothing to do with that. So I don't know why, but I would. Yes, I appreciate that, and I will go forward in figuring out why we're not and get back on Spotify.
For those of you who know that we do not shy away from any major story that pops up. It is the story of the evening. We didn't even get a chance to change our subject line for our podcast, but you all know what just happened within the last couple of hours. Here's the clip.
مقصود لهذا الزميل الصحفي حسام المصري.
لا حصل الآن
نعم.
الآن خليك يا الله راح الدفاع المدني قتلوا الناس راح الدفاع المدني قتلوا الناس.
That was the double tap.
استهداف كبير الآن كما تشاهدون في هذه الصورة. تدمير كبير قصف عنيف جدا.
That was the second strike. There was the first strike, correct, because those were the people that were the rescue workers that were there to help after the first strike, which is what is a common thing. So they wait for the first responders to get there, and then they hit it again.
Israeli double strike on Gaza hospital. What we know. Scroll, please. Guess this is, if you scroll up for a second, a man holds the equipment of journalist Hassam al-Masiri, who was filming a live TV feed from Nasir Hospital. And this was just moments before he was killed. Scroll down. A double Israeli strike on a hospital in Gaza killed 20 people, including journalists and health workers, according to the outlets they work for, the World Health Organization, F them too, and the Hamas-run health ministry. See, the BBC is going to write inflammatory language too. At least one person was killed in an initial strike, and the others in a second attack minutes later, as rescuers and journalists attended the scene at Nasir Hospital in Khan Yunis. The 5 journalists worked for international media outlets, including the Associated Press, Reuters, Al Jazeera, Middle East, and Middle East Eye. I guarantee you the Associated Press will not say jack shit. Later on Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu called the incident a tragic mishap, which Israel deeply regrets, and said military authorities...
Why do you give him that accent? He's from here. Just seriously.
Well, it's a fake accent.
Just don't. You make him sound remotely refined. He's just stop.
And said military authorities were conducting a thorough investigation. Yeah, thorough enough that they dropped a second bomb. While the attack unfolded, the first strike hit around 10 local time, medical staff at Nasir said. So that would be around, 3 o'clock Eastern time. There was mass panic, chaos, said a British medical professional working at the hospital, who was treating patients in the intensive care unit at the time. Approximately 10 minutes later, there was another blast in the same spot, a medical professional said, adding that medical staff has been planning their escape from the building when the second strike hit. The hospital's emergency department, inpatient ward, and surgical unit was hit. According to the WHO, its head, Dr. Tedros Adhanom
Don't even.
Ghebreyesus, I think I did okay.
Ghebreyesus.
In me. Said the emergency
maybe Ghebreyesus. All right, never mind.
Said all the emergency staircase was also damaged. BBC Verify has seen footage to confirm these timings. A live stream by Al Ghad TV shows several emergency workers responding to the first strike near the top floor of Nasir Hospital, as a number of journalists in the background film what's happening. A staircase where journalists often gather to broadcast from is visible in the video. A strike then directly hits the emergency workers and reporters, sending smoke and rubble in the air. At least one body is visible in the aftermath. A separate video filmed from the same staircase shows the aftermath of the strike. Bodies can be seen on the staircase as medics respond to the attack. Boy, imagine going through a double tap and then still having people go in there to try to help them. I mean, again, it's like Abby Martin says, if you are courageous enough to be a journalist in Israel right now, especially Gaza, you basically have a death sentence. But that's what true courage under fire really looks like. The British medical professional described seeing trails of blood all over the floor and absolute scenes of chaos, disbelief, and fear. Well, at least it wasn't children, am I right? The victims, identities of the slain journalists have been confirmed, but we know little about other fatalities. The Hamas run, again, fuck the BBC with this, the Hamas run health ministry.
Yeah. So up until that, they've done pretty good with this story.
Well, they have to cover their ass.
That hasn't created it before. This is actually, this was done pretty well up until this. So, yeah.
Hussam al-Masri worked as a cameraman for Reuters. The news agency reported he was killed in a first strike on the hospital while again, let's just kind of get this out of the way. Remember when they said they weren't bombing hospitals?
Right.
That was all Hamas, that were all just nuts, and that there was no way they were doing such a thing. Now they are doing it, and they're still doing it. And for what? Was Hamas there when they should
have bombed every single hospital in Gaza multiple times over. Hi, Mohammed. That is my favorite. That is my favorite Muslim name. It is
it's definitely Bill Maher's least favorite. So you definitely have more reason to like it now.
Well, you know why. So as somebody who has run for Congress, you know, you meet a lot of people and you got to remember a lot of names, and it's not always easy. And as somebody who is a Jennifer and from the 70s where there were like tons of us around, right? A million of us. So to me, Muhammad is kind of like, I don't know, a Jennifer type or John type of name in among the Muslim community, but it makes it very convenient because I feel like I can always remember a Muhammad.
You know, I just realized something. Metal hasn't been with us since we started taking off. So he's in for a whole new world of how big of an audience he's dealing with.
Oh, but he'll find a lot more compatriots.
Yeah, some of his compatriots will be there.
He'll find some of his compatriots in there.
The news agency reported he was killed in the first strike of the hospital while operating a live TV feed for Reuters. News organizations around the world, including the BBC, have used footage he has taken. Well, he'll always be remembered as filming himself.
Well, that's why these people have targets. They have been systematically eliminating any potential information getting out. So all the people that they know that are putting out information have been specifically targeted.
Mariam Daga, 33, was a freelance journalist working with the AP who said she regularly reported from the hospital. One of AP's regional editors, Abby Sewell, said Daga leaves behind a son who was evacuated from Gaza earlier in the war.
That's somebody who is brave as I can't even fathom. I cannot. Seriously, that's somebody who is like that. This is hero shit.
Love that profile picture, Whiskers.
Oh, love to the UK.
Mohammed Salama worked from Al Jazeera and Middle East Eye. Salama was planning his wedding to another journalist, Hala Asafur, not anymore, with the pair hoping to wed after a ceasefire, not happening, according to Al Jazeera. Ahmed Abu Aziz worked for Middle East Eye, according to its own reporting. The outlet says he worked on a freelance basis and was based in Khan Yunis. And Moz Abu Taha worked with various outlets, including the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, just a fortnight ago, filming a video call with journalists that showed children suffering from malnutrition at Nasir. Reuters said they occasionally published work by him.
Oh my goodness. Look at, I just can't.
That's Hamas right there, Jen. Don't forget it.
I'm just.
Israel is going down.
You know what I think? I think that somewhere in the future, and I hope that it happens before I die, there will be monuments built for these people. And the people that are doing this, hopefully, will get Mussolini'd. That's what I'm working in my mind. Like, that's what I'd like to see. I am just.
Israel does not allow international news organizations, including the BBC, into Gaza to report freely. Local reporters are relied upon to provide info to the world's media agencies. Again, propaganda. The Committee to Protect Journalists, or the CPJ, says more than 190 journalists have been killed in 22 months of genocide.
More than 200. It's more than 200. It is.
The vast majority Palestinians killed in Israeli attacks. 2 weeks ago, Israel killed 6 journalists in a targeted attack on one of them near Shifa Hospital in Gaza City, drawing outrage.
Okay.
What does Israel have to say for themselves? The IDF initially confirmed it carried out a strike in the area of Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza.
In the area.
We know how wide that can be. Throughout the day, Israeli officials issued multiple statements with little info in them, indicating a lack of clarity within the military about the attack, but designed to address widespread outrage. On Monday evening, Prime Minister Shitbag office said Israel deeply regrets the tragic mishap that occurred today at the Nasser Hospital in Gaza, adding that Israel values the work of journalists, except for over 200 of them.
You're making him sound dignified. You have to stop giving him a voice.
I'm not giving him any voice.
No. You almost slipped into what sounded like your Connery for a second with that. Don't. You're making him sound like a statesman. He's a fucking mass murderer.
I will never let him sound like a statesman. He's a terrible person.
Just don't make him sound like a statesman.
I didn't. Stop it already.
It bothers me.
I know it does. Stop taking it out on me. Values the work of journalists, medical staff, and all civilians, and saying the military was conducting a thorough investigation. We investigated ourselves and found out we did nothing wrong. However, the statement does little to address the current double tap nature of the attack. The fact that most of those who were killed were struck by the second attack at precisely the same location around 10 minutes later appears clearly intentional. Double taps are a controversial military tactic that are designed to maximize casualties by firing on those who respond to the scene of a first attack. Statements from media organizations, including the Foreign Press Association in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories, or at least they were willing to say occupied Palestinian territories, accused the Israeli military of a pattern of intentionally targeting journalists throughout the genocide. It is unclear if and when Israel will publish results of the internal inquiry it says it has begun.
Like, can we skip that part? Because does anybody for a second gonna like Israel? You know they're lying when their lips are moving, and that's just stupid. Is anybody going to believe whatever the results of their investigation show? I mean,
I would hope not.
Right. So it does not matter what the results of their investigation. Nobody cares.
UN Security General Antonio Guterres strongly condemned the horrific killings at Nasser Hospital, which he said highlight the extreme risks that medical personnel and journalists face as they carry out their vital role in this brutal conflict, and called for a prompt and impartial investigation. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy said he was horrified and called for an immediate ceasefire. French President Emmanuel Macron called the strikes intolerable and said civilians and journalists must be protected. Yeah, I've been saying it for 2 years. Nothing changes. He renewed the call for humanitarian aid to be allowed inside Gaza for Israel to respect international law. Germany's Foreign Office said it was shocked. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said he was unaware of the strikes, but when asked for his reaction, he said he was totally not happy about it. Media freedom groups also issued condemnation. When and where is it going to end? There is international law, except for us and Israel. There are guarantees that should be granted to journalists covering conflicts, and none of that seems to be applying. Well, you think?
But notice how you have not seen our mainstream media, quote unquote, I hate to say journalists because they're not journalists, they're just talking heads, but they have been very quiet on all of the killings of press. This has been going on for almost 2 years. Actually, no, it's been going on before that.
Oh, yeah.
When they killed Shireen, and there have been multiple press people that have been killed prior to October 7th, 23. This is what they do. This is how they think by doing this, we won't be able to see what they're doing. And it's not working.
This was just a situation that was just too obvious and in your face where it could not be ignored. And as it is concluded, the Committee to Protect Journalists said the Israel's broadcasted killing of journalists in Gaza continues while the world watches and fails to act firmly.
Yes.
It's true.
I'm so angry. But, you somehow were intimating to me earlier that you think that, oh, now we have them caught right directly on camera. We've been watching all of this directly for almost 2 years.
Well,
the most disgusting thing that I could ever think of happens. And I think, well, that's got to be the low. But
Colin, pull the tweet, please.
I don't know I don't know why I actually thought when they killed the World Central Kitchen workers that might have, at that point in this might have done. And no. And now you still have Jose Andres out there, trying to help by giving food, but it just went completely untalked about. Why is this different?
Israel deeply regrets the tragic mishap that occurred today at Nasser Hospital in Gaza. Israel values the work of journalists, medical staff, and all civilians.
As long as they're Jewish.
As long, you can put that in there.
As long as they're Jewish.
And conducting a thorough investigation. Our war is with Hamas terrorists. Our just goals are defeating Hamas and bringing our hostages home.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you care about your hostages that are being starved to death.
Now, if you scroll down and you see some of the comments, because he got ratioed straight to hell, which of course come as no surprise.
Nobody believes this shit anymore. Nobody believes this. Yeah.
Perfect, Lisa. If you do it once, it's a mistake. When you do it 3 times, it's policy. And when you do it hundreds of times, it's genocide.
Exactly. Yeah, Lisa, she's good. I think she's very profound.
Yeah. If you keep going, you'll see. No one is supporting this.
No.
Nobody. Across the board. Oh, Jimmy, he shows up.
Jimmy.
Nope. Yeah.
Whoops, we murdered
innocent people again.
It's terrible. It's true.
He's going to have fun with that. That Jimmy's going to have fun with that with his stand-up routine.
I know, but it's like Obama where he's like, yeah, we
don't need to see this again. Keep going.
We bombed some folks. We bombed
some folks. We droned some folks.
We droned some folks. Oh,
Larry. Can we get the audio of Larry, or is that not possible?
No, I don't think we can we? No, I don't think we can.
I can't. I just have to reshare this window.
No, we don't need any particular audio. He's getting nobody. I haven't seen any supportive Nettie hoo comments. Yeah,
Blakely, they're all again. It's all the same, and this is why.
Right. Nobody believes a word coming out of his mouth, nor should they ever.
No.
You can't believe anything that comes out of that Zio state from hell. You cannot believe a thing that comes out of there. They're pathological, psychotic liars.
Yes. And this is also, again, the reason that we have to continue to, as Jen says, bear witness to what is going on. because there will come a time where people are going to try to absolve themselves of their complicity or outright contribution to this genocide, because that's coming. There are already people who are trying to change their tune, because Israel knows that they're running out of time, because the entire world is closing them off. I know Colin, I think I sent you a handful of clips of people like around the world that are just done with them, kicking them out of places.
Oh, yeah. And then apparently I saw a video of a couple with Israeli passports wanting to get on a Kuwait flight at the airport. And the guy scans the passports and he went, oh, yeah, no Israeli passports allowed. And they were like so taken aback by that. And, they are so in a bubble. They are so in a bubble that's basically up their own ass. Like they are very insulated. Like we're insulated, they're uber insulated. And, these people are seemingly so surprised that people don't like them. And that's what's so interesting. So then apparently they have not been having access to information for the past 18 months plus, because they're going places and being so taken aback that people hate them.
Yeah, ignorance is not acceptable. That to me is just a bunch of bullshit.
I'm just saying, it's interesting. So that just shows how clearly insulated they are in Israel, that people that are leaving now, that are going places, would be remotely surprised that the world hates them when the world has been protesting them for coming up to 2 years. Like, this isn't a surprise. It's all over all the media, all around the whole world, except they don't see it.
Well, I think that this should go without saying. We have seen countless examples of innocent women, children, just journalists, aid workers, again, civilians that have been mass murdered.
They've already acknowledged it was like 80-something% civilian. That's what recently just came out.
Let's leave it to our good friend, who is the best left activist, in our humble opinion, in the country. Here's what Medea had to say about this.
Investigation by The Guardian and 2 Israeli media outlets has just blown the lid off Israel's lies. Internal Israel military data, its own classified numbers, show that 83% of the people killed in Gaza are civilians. 83%.
Actually, by Obama standards, that's pretty good. Because I think what was our rate with our drone program that we were using in Iraq? I forget, but it was
like
bad.
90% or something like that.
Right. So, it's interesting that, I guess they get a little bit, well, they're also dealing in a much smaller area too. That's like true. Fish in a barrel. They're shooting fish in a barrel.
But that's coming from Israel's side. So you even know that if their numbers are saying 83%, it's that much worse, because the way that they're probably calculating it is that anyone who, remember they said that journalist was like affiliated directly with Hamas, like they would attribute that person as part of Hamas and not a civilian. So you can imagine I don't know what the variance would be, but let's just say it's probably at least a 10. So it's probably well into that like 90 to 95% range.
Probably. Yeah. Right. I mean, we've known this, just like you can't trust their numbers, period. So if they're giving you this, it's still an undercount.
Tens of thousands of innocent people wiped off the face of the earth, while Israel told the world it was just fighting Hamas. The expose called it an extreme rate of slaughter rarely matched in recent decades of warfare, even compared with conflicts notorious for indiscriminate killings such as Syrian and Sudanese civil wars. And these figures contradict by a huge margin the public statements of the Israeli government throughout the war that have claimed a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 ratio of civilian to militant casualties. The Israelis lie about what they're doing, and the U.S. officials repeat those lies.
Of course.
That's the point.
Of course.
So when the president of the United States is confronted with, hey, did you see those aid workers that were assassinated earlier today? Yeah, it's really terrible. It's a really unfortunate situation. Are you going to do anything about it, Mr. President? well, we're going to have a little talk with Bibi, but believe me, my words matter. So, and then and like you said, and then they'll just go back to business as usual, like it didn't happen.
There'll be another distraction, and it's every single thing that I feel like Trump's doing now is to distract people from the Epstein files. So there's so much stuff that's just so coming like constant 24/7. It feels like. Again, one more group of doctors killed, one more group of journalists killed, one more group. Like it doesn't seem to register, or it does. The truth is they just don't care. They don't care.
At this point, how could they possibly care?
They don't care.
Well, the only reason why Bibi came out and made a statement today is because it was just so bad. It was so obvious. There was nothing to what they did other than it was a targeted assassination of aid workers and journalists.
I feel like we've seen enough. I don't know why. I don't know why this would be somehow the smoking gun. Like if I were trying this case, I wouldn't need that. Like that doesn't add anything to the mix over the past, however long. Like we knew what this was a long time ago with plenty of footage.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's exactly the point, but like I said, when I saw it, I said, it is so bad that he felt the need to say something about it. You know that they are getting destroyed PR-wise for this because it's getting worse and worse every day. And the more this comes, listen, at the end of the day, we are still attached at the hip to them. Whatever it's going to take to break the Israel lobby's stranglehold over our country, we just have to keep speaking truth to power. That's our job. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, and I just don't think that's how it ends.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
I said that's not how it ends. The only way that Israel is going to be dealt with is with forces on the ground going in there and dealing with Israel. And it's going to come from the whole world. And when that happens, it'll also be a sign of the end of American hegemony. And I cannot tell you how forward I'm looking to that. This is
ridiculous. Last week, when about 40 members of Congress were in Israel on an AIPAC junket, Democratic trip leader Steny Hoyer said Israel has been doing everything it can to ensure minimal damage to civilians, but the world is just not seeing it, he said. You know why they're not seeing it? Because it's not true. It's a big fat lie used to justify sending Israel more weapons. Israel has actually set rules of engagement that allow its forces to kill large numbers of civilians in strikes on even low-ranking militants. It authorized the killing of more than 100 Palestinian civilians when attempting to assassinate one senior Hamas commander and up to 20 for junior operatives. And the general who led military intelligence when the war began has said mass killings in Gaza was necessary as a message to future generations of Palestinians.
I mean, they're telling you right there that this is genocide. The intention is to kill them all.
They've been saying that since the first week. So, again, it's just bizarre to me that that's even a discussion point still.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it a discussion point. I would just say more and more people are just waking up to this reality. They're waking up to what's actually going on.
And I see people in the chat talking about like countries haven't even tried sanctions yet. No, and they're not going to yet. Because right now they're all still scared of us. Right now we are still the bully of the schoolyard.
For now.
For now. And so they're not going to do anything, but eventually it's going to shift. It is. The bully eventually gets what he has coming. Like that's just how it works.
And the longer it goes on, the more that they're just never going to be able to recover from it. We will pay for the sins of our fathers, if you will. But in the end, the arc of history is going to bend towards justice. It already is.
It is. And I think that, when I say things like the only way this is going to stop and what's going to stop the Zionist state, it is going to have to be some sort of military intervention. Now, whether that's UN forces, but, that's not what I think is anytime soon. And it certainly doesn't seem like countries care because we're still the boss right now. I just said that's what it will end up having to be.
I agree.
This is not collateral damage. This is not Hamas using civilians as human shields. This is systematic slaughter of civilians. And now starving survivors, already forced into just 20% of the territory, have been ordered to leave the north as Israel prepares another ground operation that will have catastrophic consequences for civilians. Remember that number, 83% civilians. That number is written in blood, and it demands one response: stop the killing, end the genocide, free Palestine.
Also, another comment about that 83% number, why it is also a woeful underrepresentation, is that they're talking, when they say who they consider civilians or not. So if somebody works for Hamas, which is the government or was the de facto government in that region, so whether it's teachers or in any capacity government workers that were Hamas, those could easily not be counted as civilians in this number. So they're not, when they're saying it, they're only saying people that aren't affiliated with Hamas. So people that had no affiliation with the government, because they're not talking about combatants. That's the difference. They're not. So if you were to really take it into consideration, you are probably closer to like 95% of the people that they're killing are civilian people and non-combatant people.
Now, I want people to understand this clip that we're going to play that kind of underscores what this is all about and why so many people in the United States, particularly people who live comfortably, whether they are conservative, liberal, or anything in between, the dehumanization of the Palestinian people, which has been in part and parcel the dehumanization of the Muslim community for multiple generations. Obviously, it went up 1,000% after 9/11. But this is something that has been in the works ever since 1948, and it has continued in earnest ever since. This will give you guys an idea of why things are so tragic right now and why we have to remember that we're all equal, period. If you're a human, you're a human, and that's it. There is no Jewish supremacy. There is no master race, no matter what anybody wants you to believe.
There's no illegal people.
Sometimes.
Never. There's no such thing as illegal people. Same difference. Stop othering. We're in the Hunger Games. We're in the fucking Hunger Games. And let me and people in this country that are still comfortable, make no mistake, at best, you're lucky if we're at a District 7 level here in this country right now in terms of how most people are living. At best, we're District 7 here. So to think that we're not next to be District 12, you're out of your mind.
Mm. So as you see people probably somewhere in Southern California live a very comfortable, probably even affluent life, and they have their nice meal on the table, and they don't have a care in the world about real world problems. And yet on the other side of the world, this is what's going on, and we are a direct affiliate in these actions. Like I said, we can only do so much to control all of the ills that go on around the world, but the fact of the matter is we are significantly involved in a lot of them. But no,
this is 100% us. 100% us.
We could have stopped this on day one. We could have stopped it decades ago. But remember, when it comes to money and power, the natural gas under Gaza soil, the real estate redevelopment, and the Greater Israel Project to control the resources in the region, it doesn't matter how many people have to die. Not to the oligarchs. To them, this is all a means to an end. That's it. Just imagine for 1 second. Just imagine for 1 second that that's your situation. Because again, I've lived in situations where I had very little to eat because I didn't have money.
But not like this.
Not like this. This is crazy. And this is every day for 2 years. How do people live with themselves? I don't know.
I can barely live with myself, and I don't know. Like, I feel like I want to come out of my skin. This is so enraging to me.
You're going to get Laura Loomer one day, Jen.
Ah.
You'll get it. And by the way, we're not going to do it tonight. Maybe we'll do it on Thursday.
But we can't even say that anymore. We need to stop because I don't want to get our channel like in trouble.
The fact that Laura Loomer was a diehard Hillary supporter, and this just got discovered the other day, and now she's on again. I want people to wake up to the reality of these grifters because they're everywhere. They're all over the place.
I'm broken. I'm just broken. Like I feel broken.
I know, but I'm ruined.
I feel ruined. Like I feel like my spirit is ruined from this. I can't explain it. Like I'm just, yeah.
We're doing what we can, Jen.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like that's how I feel. I feel like I'm ruined from this.
I get it.
It's when it's like the babies, it just like the baby's crying and the baby's shaking and the baby's trying to comfort the littler babies when it's all just babies. And let me be clear, I don't begrudge anyone that whatever looked like happy frolicking in a beautiful place. You know what I'm saying? I don't begrudge anybody that. I just want them to have that. I want that, like they would have that if not for us. We are the reason that they don't have that. It isn't like they have not been able to get out of their own way, right? Like that's we have failed as a species, and I do not know how we ever come back. And I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime, unfortunately. So I won't live long enough to see any sort of like, I don't know. But I'm just like, I'm ruined.
Well, don't feel bad. We are doing what we can to try to make that change.
No, I know, but you cannot tell me not to feel bad. Yeah.
No, I don't want you to feel broken. I just want people to see.
I am. That is how it feels. I feel like so stained and ruined in my like spirit. And it's very much what I forget who it was who said it, that we've been morally wronged in a way that it cannot be fixed. And that's what I'm saying. I don't see how this can ever be fixed. And I'm talking about for the people that aren't the people that are going to ultimately end up dead. I'm talking for those of us right now. Like, I don't see how we get past this.
No, I don't really see how we get past it either. But I also think that it's what will ultimately lead to the change that we seek. We will not get to that next place that we need to go evolution-wise if we allow ourselves to just be completely broken by a circumstance without fighting. Again, for the people that were being shown in that clip, the people that clearly were living very pristine, very charmed lives, if you will. The disposition of those types of people typically are, well, we can't solve all of the world's problems. And I would say, you're right, we can't solve all of them. But you know what we can do? We can solve whether or not we are complicit in those problems. That we can do. And right now, we are very complicit in what is going on. We are still complicit in what is going on. And there will be no slowing down until we are no longer complicit. And then it's going to take many years to actually recover from such a thing. And then there is the prevention.
Mr. Peepers is saying he's renouncing Canadian citizenship and leaving Canada's complicit too. Please share with me where you're going. Because, I mean, the only place I can imagine is like Costa Rica, since they don't have a military. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where, if you tell me where you're finding that's not complicit, I'm very, yeah.
Well, the one place that they could go, Colin, I don't know if you have the clip, but I'd sent to you the clip. Or though maybe only you sent it to me, Jen. Did I send you the clip of Scheinbaum? I want people to see what a
the
world
one that I
leader-
sent you. I always send you clips of her. I love her.
By the way,
she's just great, and you can tell she's very real. She talks to her people like a real person. She's really smart. She explains things to them. Like we have not had a president that I've had in my lifetime that talks to the people the way she talks to the people. I have not seen that ever in this country. Not like that. You know, she gets up there with like the charts and explains stuff at a level that nobody explains like that to us. Yeah.
I'm trying to find the one that you sent me, and I'm not seeing it. Did you?
Well, it was either via text or it was on Instagram. It might have been text. It's probably text.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah. I noticed that if I text you things, you notice it more than if I just forward you on Instagram. If I forward you on Instagram, you don't notice the same.
There, you know, for some reason it was from yesterday, and I didn't even realize it. So, Colin, I sent you two. First one, we'll queue up. I want people to understand that I don't want people to not think that we're not heading in the right direction. That's the first thing. Because even though these are the darkest of times, I want people to understand that there is some light at the end of the tunnel. And the reason I say this is because Israelis are getting shut out all over the fucking world. All over the world.
Good.
People, they're like, they have to lie now. Good. Let them lie. And what's even more amazing is that they are so brazenly disconnected from reality that they actually go around filming themselves, asking people, what do you have against Israelis? We didn't do anything wrong. They're all blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're genocidal maniacs. That's what you are. And again, there will be no...
You're like, because we're Jewish?
Yeah, exactly. Shmooly.
I know, that's what they like to say. It's because we're Jewish. They hate us because we're Jewish. No, we hate you because you're pieces of shit. It has nothing to do with your religion.
Big time.
You psycho.
That, and therein, again, is like why this whole thing comes full circle. We're not going to get into a clip, like we're not going to do a segment on this because I cannot look at Shmuley. He is the most disgusting.
Oh no, don't do that to me. Or I'm preparing.
Like even I can't look at him. He's so fucking bad. But this guy actually is calling Ben Shapiro like not a full on like he's like a Jew hater now or something. Or he's like he is aiding and abetting anti-Semites. It's
Shapiro?
Yeah. It's
well,
all
he is.
fault.
He is aiding and abetting anti-Semites. He's completely conflating Judaism and Zionism. That completely helps the anti-Semitic cause.
This is why you guys need to understand why things are not going to go well for Israel. Eventually, I mean, it's starting already. Like it's already happening, but this is something that is going to continue to happen, and it's going to get so much worse. So much worse.
Ask you why you kicked someone out when you found out they were Israeli. Why did you?
They were a baby killer. Now fuck off. Fuck off. Excuse me.
Do you always ask people with ethnic accents where they come from?
You don't. Leave me a review.
Do you always you kick somebody out? Do you know that's against the law to kick somebody?
Not, actually.
The racial.
The hell it's not. We refuse the right to serve anyone.
Anyone. That's real labor law right there. If you are
Racial Discrimination Act. Yeah, if this were a federal office, you may have a point. Get the fuck out of here with that. She's not having. Where is this?
Aussie land.
Oh.
The Discrimination Act. You can't, based on nationality.
Israelis on a race.
Yes. And they're not a real nationality either. So booyah.
No, which is also why, as we have pointed out time and again, there is no DNA testing allowed in Israel because what you'll discover is that they're from all different parts of the world that are not Israel. The people that are actually from that region are the Palestinians.
Right.
That's from there.
Right.
Well, we just get to make shit up as we go. Now, we have, as we've mentioned, our channel has grown a lot, and one of the contingent of supporters that have found their way to our channel are supporters of Nick Fuentes. And I want people to understand this. And Jen, obviously, this is much more personal for her. There are not only good Jews out there, there are great Jews who happen to be leaders. In fact, I would really have to think long and hard about who is a better world leader right now than the Jewish president of the country that is south of us, that apparently we need to put a border wall up in front.
Yeah, like they're the ones that want to come here.
When you think about a world leader and how their own people respond to them, this is how the citizens, particularly the female citizens of Mexico, respond to their president, Claudia Sheinbaum, who in just 2 years in office, through her socialist policies, have lifted over 8.5 million citizens out of abject poverty. Doing something right, I guess.
They love her. They love her.
Todos los abuelas, me encanta Claudia Sheinbaum.
She's got this Christ-like consciousness to her. She's, or you know, it's like how the last pope, you know, would get in with regular people, vulnerable people, the oppressed people, the least of these. She lets them be all over. She is with them. We've never had this. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's probably higher, and for whatever, who knows? I can't imagine. Who wouldn't like this? She's pulling people out of poverty. She talks to people like they're real people. She explains shit to them, and she fights for her country and her people. Who wouldn't want that? I love her.
Well, not only that, but you're talking about a president
and
that actually
Jewish.
Yeah. Oh,
She's
talk
a
about
Jewish girl.
a
She's a nice
Jewish president.
girl.
A Jewish president who supports the liberation of the Palestinian people.
Yes, she does.
Who speaks multiple languages.
Well, that's most leaders and honestly people in a lot, well, except in foreign countries. Most countries that are like peer groups, their people learn multiple languages automatically in school. But yes, foreign leaders are generally a lot more well-spoken than ours.
You know, now that I think about it, I think that the last time we ever had a commander-in-chief that in his case didn't even speak multiple languages, but I think JFK was probably the last one because Jackie Kennedy spoke fluent Spanish. I think that's probably the last time. If you really think about it, I don't remember any of our world leaders ever being able to speak another language.
Our presidents, you mean? Our
Yes,
president.
correct.
Of course not. Of course not. And yet we think we're so great. The American exceptionalism as to how great we are when we're so not is so hilarious to me. It would be one thing if we believed that we were great, and we were. Like if we were the shit. But I told you about it. I had an Uber driver in Dublin who was a man from Kenya who spoke 5 languages, and he was driving an Uber because he was a grad student. So he drove the Uber on the weekends. And that's just a regular working person who speaks 5 languages, right? Yeah, we're morons. Like, I don't see how any other way to say it. I'm sorry. And PragerU is not going to help boost those numbers in our education system. I'll tell you that.
So I want all of our nationalist supporters in the chat to remember something here. There are Jews like Dennis Prager, and then there are Jews like Jen and Claudia Sheinbaum.
Right.
No,
Jews and Israelis and Zionists are saying we're not the same. There's Jews. There's Zionists and there's Israelis. And if you were to do a Venn diagram, yes, there is overlap in those things. But there are more Christian Zios in this country than Jews in the whole world. Okay.
Yes, that is true.
Aim your rage proportionately. Okay.
Correct.
And I do not, and honestly, there are so many people in this country, in the Palestinian liberation like circles, are Jewish people. They just are. And the Jewish Voice for Peace and the students on the campus, and just, yeah, stop blaming all the Jews.
And while the numbers are drastically different in terms of how many Jewish Zionists versus Christian Zionists, remember, stereotypical as this may be, the Jewish Zionists, they take care of the money, and the Christian Zionists, particularly their pastors, bring the flock.
Deliver the flock. Yes.
That's essentially how it works.
Yes.
Two different roles, same result. We must break the Israel lobby stranglehold over our.
But stop hating on Jews. Seriously. It's old, it's tired, it's not rational.
It's too easy. It's too easy. Have a little bit more brain power and recognize what the real problem is.
And I think that a lot of these people don't understand. And we said this when we had, who was it? What was his name? Who came on the show? The other Peter. And I was asking him for where are these Jews getting these no interest loans that he was talking about? Right. Stop thinking ridiculous shit like that. Seriously, stop. My dad grew up living on a porch. Him and his brother shared the porch because that was where they lived. Like, seriously, not all Jewish people are affluent. Not all Jewish people come from money. I am the first person in my family to go to college. My people were like working, very poor immigrants. Seriously.
I look forward to the day where we can take down Dennis Prager and PragerU. That'll be a nice day.
She's like, to me, she's like, she's got this very Audrey Hepburn vibe to her, you know, but you can't fake that. You can't fake that, what she's doing and how she's connecting with people. You just can't. You can't. No. And she is very real and she's lovely.
Now I want to test my my little Spanish capability here.
Don't you think like she's got a very Audrey Hepburn vibe to her?
So this is a pension event for women between the ages of 60 and 64. Mm-hmm. And you could just see that she really, again, it's not, remember, there is a difference in the United States in particular versus Mexico that you are seeing here that we really do not have. And Mexico, in this case, clearly does have. They have a leader that is being embraced in particular by the working class. These are working class people that are in love with this lady. That's not how it is here in the States. But if there is somebody who the working class of California should be embracing,
oh yes,
I think that they are, because if they weren't, clearly the Democratic Party establishment wouldn't be looking to blackball, no pun intended, the best candidate going for governor.
That's why.
In the great state of California. So let's get him here, because he'll be better than I was when I was governor. Butch Ware, welcome back. Well, for the first time to Revolutionary Change.
Hi.
Perhaps Butch inspired you a little bit, Jen.
Well, everybody inspires me. But yeah, I've definitely been getting further and further, like I'm going to fall off on the left. If the world were flat, I'd be falling off on the other side. So.
Well, yeah. It's good to see y'all again. I do love the rebrand. I mean, obviously, Revolution is right on brand as far as I'm concerned. And I'm picking up what you're putting down with respect to the Audrey Hepburn vibes. Like, that was low-key spot on.
Yeah.
And I will say, you know, just to jump right into it, Yeah, man, the people's champ is in the building because, you know, like we need a working class representative. And I'll just say the reason why, you know, like they're trying to keep me out of the Politico candidate forum on Wednesday is that, you know, I went into, you know, to an open forum as equals with the Democrat candidates at the SEIU, you know, Service Employees International Union governor candidate forum. And, you know, we own the room from start to finish, because the difference between somebody that works for the ruling class and somebody that works for the working class is obvious. Because the first words out of my mouth were, you can't work for management and the shop floor at the same time.
No.
You can't represent the corporations and labor at the same time. It's a conflict of interest. You're gonna have to have one or the other. And the people of California are going to have to choose. We're going to still keep, you know, running these corporate Dems, you know, up a flagpole, you know, or are we going to run them out of town on a rail? Because it is enough already, you know, and somebody needs to actually be there for working people. And it's true, you know, Claudia can interact with those people because she's there to serve those people. That's who she's there to serve.
Yeah. That's why you can't fake it. You can't fake that.
Let's get into it right away. You had this candidate forum about a week and a half ago in Oakland with the SEIU local.
It was Sacramento. Yep.
Sacramento. So it sounds like it went pretty well. In fact, I think that they did like an exit poll, if you will, and you overwhelmingly considered not only the most popular candidate, but the most curious of the voter candidates. People wanted to know more about you more than anybody else. Please share what the experience was like speaking at that forum.
I mean, I'll let you guys know, because you guys have been a part of this political journey. So I'll give you some kind of like behind the scenes, you know, stuff. There were some dynamics that emerged immediately that I had not, perceived before it happened, which is that once they're all on stage, people are going to know the difference, right? That part I knew. Like, I've been giving, 60 to 70 academic lectures or public speeches a year for the past 15 years. So I know how to speak in a group of people. When I saw the opening set of presentations, I was like, if this is all they got, they're dead. If this is all they got, they're dead. Because nobody spoke from the heart, nobody spoke to the issues, nobody spoke with passion. They were just not effective communicators. And then secondly, they all got to play nice with each other, and I don't have to play nice with none of them. So they're up there, because they're all on the same team. Now, what was the funniest thing to happen is that after our first round of questions, I started, talking about, the billionaires in California, and, 9 families in Silicon Valley controlling $683 billion of the people's wealth, and the wealth inequality. Everybody wants to talk about California being the 4th largest economy, but they don't tell you that we're #1 in wealth inequality, right? So the Democrats have their own billionaire candidate. Not surprising, obviously.
It's a good billionaire, Butch, but that's a good billionaire.
I mean, even if there was such a thing, this dude ain't it. because Stephen Klubeck, I think that's his name, he literally got up and walked off. So you can check the audio. It's on my YouTube. He said, I'm not going to sit here while people are castigated for doing well in their lives. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the problem. We don't like people doing well in their lives. That's the problem.
And so he literally got up and walked off the stage, which was just like, wow. Then, I had a live mic in my hand. So I was like, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord keeps you.
That's awesome.
I mean, because if you can't handle, like somebody critiquing the oversized influence of billionaires on the economy, bro, how are you going to be governor? You can't handle a 2-minute opening presentation from the black radical on stage. You think you can be governor?
Well, it should not come as any surprise.
So
I think that we have been due for a modern day Malcolm type candidate to just not hold back and just say what needs to be said. And the fact of the matter is, you have that free range to do it because you're not doing it from the Democratic Party plantation, which is what it always comes back to. The one thing I love about you is that you've always said the Democratic Party never changed. Don't ever think for a second that this is not the Dixie South Party still. The only thing that actually changed was the color may have changed. The red stripe, the blue stripe, but it's still all the same. The same politics has essentially worked its way across.
Well, they also brought in black people.
Yep.
Yeah.
They brought in black faces, right? So that's their way of saying we've changed.
Black faces in high places. You talk about that.
They're not black faces in high places. Sorry to move things around. I literally just came in from an interview. Black faces in high places are not going to, save us. Listen, what it comes down to is that they have essentially become the party of DEI Reaganomics and DEI imperialism. They now allow for a certain amount of color to be sprinkled in with the genocidal lunacy at home and abroad. If you're somebody that is raised up as I was, and I mean, that's obviously humbling, to be compared to Malcolm. I won't make those comparisons, but Malcolm is my hero. And I do try to take every single lesson that he gave, seriously. And, Malcolm warned us, about this. He said in 1964, he said the white liberal is the most dangerous thing in the Western Hemisphere. And when Malcolm said this, and people look at the Trump situation now and think that like Newsom's a better option or some kind of madness. Right? Yeah. But work with me for a minute, right? Because think about what's happening in 1964 that Malcolm says that the white liberal is the most dangerous thing in the Western Hemisphere. Because in 64, white conservatives are hanging Negroes from trees. White conservatives are putting bullets in the heads of white voting right activists and burying them next to roads in Mississippi. And they're turning dogs and fire hoses on black kids. So don't think that we haven't seen white conservative white supremacy run amok before, but Malcolm said what he said about the white liberal, because ultimately the problem with liberalism is it's a hidden enemy. It's an enemy that pretends to be your friend, but it ain't your friend. And so you refer to it as a plantation because that's exactly what it is. And the problem is now there's a lot of people of color that literally cannot imagine freedom from this plantation. Like Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves and I'd have freed thousands more if only they knew they were slaves. So we just got to get people off of that plantation thinking that, that liberals are going to provide the solution for them.
I will say the best compliment I ever got from being compared to somebody was, I don't know if you remember this, Peter, but Ken McCarthy, who's a friend and he's an author, was on the show about his JFK book. And he has said to me, he said that I reminded him of Huey P. Newton.
Well, I actually do remember that.
I was like, that's really kind of cool.
I would have to see it with a blowout in order to evaluate that. I would have to see.
Is that the problem? I'm Afro challenged.
Afro challenged.
But I don't even remember what it was I was talking about. But that's what, and he said that. I'm like, that's like the coolest thing ever.
That's high praise right there, man. That's high praise.
No, it's cool.
Well, we know who your top competition is. Katie Porter is obviously going to walk that line because she has proven time and again that she is completely willing and able to move in whatever direction the establishment wants her to. Here's a person that right after the October 7th fiasco and everything that has proceeded since, initially was 1,000% behind Israel. Then she tried to temper her message and say that we need a ceasefire and that the Palestinians deserve human rights. And then as soon as she decided she was running for governor, well, she is Israel's best friend and does not run away from that. And so she's clearly trying to get her seat at the head table. She had her opportunity that she couldn't get when it was for the Senate. And we know Adam Schiff got all of the support from the Israel lobby. Now she is seeking all of that support from the Israel lobby, although I'm sure Steve Hilton is, and we'll get to him shortly, because he's what I consider, I guess, the sort of stand-in candidate. The Democratic establishment's going to pump his ass up with a lot of money to make sure that you can't win. But
are you talking about Nikki and Paris's dad?
Nick, no. What are you talking about?
Steve Hilton.
Yes, Steve Hilton. He's not related to the Hiltons, at least as far as he's from the UK. You talk about the ultimate carpetbagger, shows up in California, isn't even from this country, and he's going to be the governor of California. It's always nice when a conservative shows up who grew up in a country with universal education and healthcare is going to come to California and tell you you don't need any of this.
You had an Austrian.
You had
an Austrian. What does it matter? I don't. Are you what?
Well, when I was governor of California, I tried every which way to bring the people.
I'm just saying, you had.
It's not a bad Schwarzenegger impression, I gotta say.
Well, let's stick to the core issue here, which of course
Katie
is
Porter, and I
Porter
rue the
is
day I ever liked her. I rue the day. I look, she showed a good game with the whiteboard, you know, and taken down some CEOs, and it looked really nice. And now
I'm gonna do a whiteboard of all of the donations that Katie Porter has taken from liberal Zionist organizations, and then I'm going to do a whiteboard of how many children were killed per dollar she took after her "I Stand with Israel" statement on October 11th, because everyone that said in that time frame "I stand with Israel" was a material accomplice to genocide. Plainly, and I just to highlight the difference, right? On October 11th, I was organizing a Black and Palestinian solidarity talk at my mosque in Santa Barbara. And I was planning the first march, public march, liberation march, back when people were afraid to say boo about Palestine. You know, remember how tight-lipped everybody was at the beginning of the genocide, because I knew what was coming. You don't have to be Nostradamus. You just have to have read a history book or two. You knew that the language was genocidal language and that they were getting ready to try to carry out their final solution. So anybody that co-signed for that final solution is complicit. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to get Katie beat real bad here in California, because people are not going to vote for somebody that can't say free Palestine out loud in this state. It's just not going to happen. Like, people want an end to California's special relationship with Israel, which literally includes like a bunch of money for cybersecurity. Like, why does the state of California need to have a special relationship with Israel? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to tell you that. And by the way, being on stage with him, Katie knows. Katie knows. I mean, Katie is I think an adjunct faculty member at one of the smaller schools. Like, thank you. Yeah. Like Katie knows the difference between me and her intellectually. she knows the difference between those, and everybody in that room learned the difference between somebody who is playing politics and somebody who is speaking truth.
Well, she's been used to dealing with lightweights for the longest time. Somebody who knows what they're doing. And this is just an example, guys, of what was this was only from a couple of months ago. But if you scroll down, Colin, California gubernatorial candidates address Israel-Palestine conflict is not a conflict. It is a genocide, period. And I'm sure you're the only candidate who has said this. So, Colin, if you could just scroll down, I just want people to see some of the highlights specifically pertaining to what some of these candidates actually said, including Katie Porter. And the so-called divide, if you will. But if you scroll down a little bit further, we've got some choice words that some of these candidates decided to say. So one of the candidates, scroll up just slightly. One of the candidates that is running, who I don't believe is he is not the billionaire, but he's definitely going to be somebody who is going to get a lot of support from the Democratic Party machine in Los Angeles, is Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, raised the terrorist attack on Israel most directly when he spoke to the Jewish public. Yep, to JPAC, that's what it's called. Gathering at the state's capital on Tuesday. For me, October 7th was a day that will live in me and a day that will be seared in my memory. To see women and children brutalized, older people, again, the dehumanization of Palestinians. That's the whole point. Also, the anti-Muslim contingent is also a huge part of this too. Don't kid yourself. Very Catholic of you, Villaraigosa, I must say. Let me just throw that in there too. Look, I'm well aware of what Hamas does. Hamas put their ammunition. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Did you see what happened earlier today, Villaraigosa? Yeah, that was definitely Hamas. So much so that Netanyahu felt he had to make a statement about it. They put their rockets under apartment. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So we all know this guy's a piece of shit. So let's see what Katie Porter had to say.
She spoke about rising anti-Semitism.
Yes.
That's a big problem, guys.
That's the problem.
Especially in really, really dangerous Orange County, California, let me tell you. So we have to be honest and just say that it is scary right now to be a Jewish person. It is scary to be American in many instances because we are seeing rising hate, and that hate has been targeted. particular at the Jewish people and at Jewish. You see, language like this creates anti-Semitism. Or it's not even anti-Semitism because they're not Semites. Anti-Jewish sentiment comes from.
Can I tell you what makes this Jewish person feel very threatened and uncomfortable? Because I can be very clear about that. All of the Israelis that are coming here, that is very threatened and uncomfortable. I can't go to Pilates and enjoy it anymore with like little Tel Aviv hanging out in the little lobby area.
Little Tel Aviv.
This is no. We have a serious influx of genocidal, psychopathic people that are coming here. I am scared of that as a Jewish person. So I'm just saying.
Thankfully, your voters are not in Bel Air and they are not in Beverly. Well, there may be some voters for you in Bel Air and Beverly Hills, but thankfully, where a lot of the Zios hang out and in places like Sherman Oaks, you're not going to find too much of your support network there anyway. Thankfully, that is a small part of the electorate. And a lot of them are also mixes between Democrats and Republicans, and they're very loyal to their party line. But I'm telling you, man, they are isolating themselves from the rest of the country and the rest of the world, quite frankly. And so, as Porter says, as a law professor at UC Irvine, there is a line above which you cannot go when it comes to speech. Oh, really? So now she wants to mess with free speech. This, to me, and again, we can look at though governors do not craft foreign policy, California's voice is influential because of the large number of Jewish and Muslim residents who live here, the second most of any state in the nation of both religious groups. So that, in a lot of ways, I think is going to play a significant role. Now, what I do think is also a very important campaign strategy, if it hasn't already been talked about, you saw what happened in Iowa City recently. I think almost every community in the state of California probably would want to know how much of their tax dollars is actually being sent over to Israel. The same thing can be duplicated, and you as a candidate, you have a wide open lane.
And I'm the only one that can say it. And it's not just that. It's not a political lane for me. It's who I am. Like,
right.
I there was no political benefit for me risking my job on October 11th or October 21st of 2023. I did it because it's the right thing to do, and it's because what Malcolm would have done under the circumstances. And so there's a certain kind of like political instrumentalism that goes into the calculus of everybody else. But the thing is that you're never going to get that from me. And that's what also, as much as anything, people responded to in the SEIU room, is that you could literally see Katie's head working when she's answering a question about, can we move to a 4-day, 32-hour work week? I can literally see her picking the donor that she cannot offend. And every last one of them hemmed and hawed and shucked and jived and said, we'll look at it. And I was the only one that said, union labor got us the 40-hour work week and a 5-day work week. I can't see why it couldn't get us a 4-day work week and a 32-hour work week. And I know what that looks like in practice, because when I was on research leave in France, they had a 4-hour work day. Right. And the world didn't fall apart. And especially with so much telework available, this is really just a mechanism of control. People's productivity is not affected, by relinquishing some of this corporate control. So the thing is I'm the only one that can say those things. And it's not a political calculus for me. It's just actual and factual. I believe in those things. And what's more, I am not beholden to any corporate donors, because we don't take any corporate money. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Who funds you runs you. And we're funded by the people. That means the people are going to run us. And the Democrats are funded by the corporations and AIPAC. And that means the corporations and AIPAC are going to run them.
I will say this. When I was in Southern California a few months ago, and this was a Saturday, mind you, and I did the horrific drive from LA to San Diego along I-5. And this is on a Saturday, mind you.
Brutal.
And I'm looking at this traffic and I'm thinking of a couple of things. One, how do they make these highways so narrow? And two, How is there a train track that runs directly parallel with this roadway and it isn't being used? So as governor of California, I'd be curious to hear what some of your state policies will be, especially with transportation, which I have no doubt, especially for working class Californians, that is one of the primary issues that they face on a daily basis.
Excellent. So I literally was just coming into the StreamYard waiting room late because I was supposed to have a 1-hour interview here with CBS Sacramento. They're chopping it up, over the next couple weeks. Julie Watts kept me there for 2 hours because she could not get enough, of this different kind of conversation. So apologies for being late, but we discussed exactly this in that interview, which is why I cited it. They're asking me a question about how do we lower gas prices in the state of California and how the high cost of gas is affecting working families, and it's hitting hard the people that are economically marginalized. And I was like, we're not going to gas vehicle our way out of a transportation crisis in Southern California. What we need is free, clean public transportation in every major metropolitan area. And we need a high-speed train that runs from San Diego to Sacramento and then from Sacramento up to Humboldt. Like the state should be economically integrated. I said, think about this. We're talking about lowering the cost of gas so that we can have more fossil fuels, so that we can have more global warming, so that we can have more wildfires. Explain to me, y'all, why I had to take 2 different planes and put how much jet fuel into the environment just to fly from Santa Barbara to Sacramento this morning, when the Chinese can build you a train that will get you there in about 90 minutes. It makes no sense. And then so first of all, and the Democrats have no answers or solutions or how we're going to protect our environment, because even the ones that they argue for are ones that serve corporate interests first, right? So think about this. How do we skip past the public transportation part right to personal electric vehicles, right? Because this isn't the solution either. There's not enough lithium in the planet to replace all of the gas vehicles on the planet now. So the answer is obvious. The answer is you have to have a high-speed rail line. Do you guys remember when Obama promised us that? I
remember when Obama promised a lot of things.
Before we found out he was just a black imperialist, right? I mean,
they come in all colors, they come in all colors.
I mean, I teach African history. So I understand that the decolonization of the African continent wasn't complete when neo-colonial black rulers replaced white colonial rulers, but they operated exactly the same kind of colonial state. You don't have to explain to me that oppressors can come in different colors, and I'm an equal opportunity opponent to anybody that's an oppressor. I don't care if your skin is like this or your skin is like this. If you're an enemy of the people, then you're an enemy to me. So that's the kind of working class politics and ethic that we need. One last thing on the governor. You guys might have seen that the campaign has asked me to lean in on the fitness component, the workout videos. So I've been posting more of those things. I'm just going to tell you, anytime any of these political candidates, and unlike Arnold, I did it all naturally. You can test me at any point in time. I've never cheated on anything in my life, and especially, not with what I put into my body. So even at age 51, I'm 51 right now. Last year at age 50, I hit a 500-pound squat. I hit 225 for 30 reps on the bench, which is like defensive tackles at the NFL Combine.
Hate you.
Yeah, and so all I'm saying is that if they want to bring Gavin in, if they want to bring Arnold out of retirement, if they want to bring any of their right-wing manosphere talking heads, send me Joe Rogan, send me Jake Paul, not for boxing, I'm too old for that, but I'll take him to the weight room anytime. I'll take Jake Paul to the weight room anytime.
It's sad, but it's true. I mean, honestly.
And on behalf of many people, we appreciate the uploads.
I appreciate the inspiration because, like I said, I did my back workout a little while ago, and let me tell you something.
Oh, you did the back workout? How'd it go?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, listen, when you're on the T-bar row and you're pulling an excess of 200 pounds, let me tell you, there's something about a strong back, especially a strong lower back, because I did combined with the T-bar row and the deadlifts and then the barbell rows. And so when you're doing that, it's an incredibly there's almost like a morphic type feeling that you have when you're exercising with that type of weight. And I say this to all men. I mean, I love women who work out too. Like I like physically fit women.
I met my wife at the gym, a little 5'2", 125-pound Mexican squatting 285 by 3, and I was like, she had me at hello.
Okay, see, I feel like there's this weightlifting discrimination happening because I'm a Pilates person. So I do
Pilates in your too.
So let me tell you, Jen, it's this very important to know is our volunteer coordinator, the amazing Wendy Kieslich. She's actually a yoga instructor that's by trade. And we are about to roll out the Fitness and Wellness Challenge nationwide so that people can start, it's not just about, the meatheads, it's also about, the wellness, because ultimately that's really what it's about. The truth is that like there's a fitness to fascist pipeline that the alt-right is now like grooming kids through weight room videos, and people that aren't about promoting fascism like need to take that back with like saying like, I'm not against conventional expressions of masculinity, but I know a man can look a lot of different ways and move a lot of different ways, and that doesn't bother me because I'm secure, right? Go ahead.
But I also think it's very important, and I would say this to the audience and everybody, is, again, we're not getting into the whole, gym bro conversation, but there is a crisis of masculinity in this country for many reasons. And the least of which is, as you've pointed out, there was kind of like a deliberate movement against masculinity. They called it toxic masculinity, but let's be honest. We know what the Democratic Party establishment was doing. It was very deliberate. And as far as I'm concerned, it gave way to the more toxic side of it that you see in more conservative politics. I think being a candidate that is in great physical shape is actually a really good thing.
It's important. It's important. I was like that too. Like when I was running, I always was like very like you have to be in that when you're a candidate.
Well, but it's also rooted in the wellness, Jen, to take it to your part. Like, so people that know my story, I was 330 pounds, like battling, major health issues. So I took it as like that this has to become like, if I want to be of service to my community, and if I want to do the things that I want to do in the world, that ultimately my physical health, my physical body is the instrument that I have to use to negotiate, my way through the world. And so ultimately, like, that's the thing. Yeah, everybody likes to look nice and all those things, but ultimately it's not about aesthetics. It's about ethics, because no matter what your disability status or your age or your gender, you can find out through physical activity, whether it's yoga, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's a sport, you can find a better center for yourself. The endorphins are good for your mental health and for your physical health. We need to claim that space back, because it shouldn't be the case that like just by wanting to take care of your body, whatever that body may look like, then you got to listen to a bunch of, misogynistic propaganda and all kind of other madness.
Is that really? Can I also say, can we stop saying toxic masculinity? Because it's stupid.
No, I'm saying that's the term that they use.
No, I know, but why?
In fairness, he problematized it, but go ahead. Yeah.
Right. No, my point is that real masculinity is nothing to do with toxicity. Toxicity is toxicity, and it comes in all sorts of forms, right? Like, so it's when people are acting out of ego and they're acting out of narcissism and they're not being in their truth, right? That's when people are toxic, but that has nothing to do with masculinity. In fact, to me, like, although I will say that there have been many men come into Pilates class and end up kind of crying like little babies. But anywho, there is what to me, like what's really masculine is so incredibly appealing, but there's nothing toxic about that. Like that, I don't know. We need to stop saying that, because I think it somehow is connecting toxicity with masculinity when in fact it's completely unrelated. Like one has nothing to do with the other at all.
Excellent point.
Right? Like misogyny is not a masculine behavior.
At all.
Right.
At all.
That's completely not masculine.
But the Democratic Party liberal establishment uses it as a weapon. There is no question that that has been a deliberate move over the past decade, and they have suffered mightily for it. And it was deliberate. And again, it's all about not addressing the economic crises that exist in this country. And of course,
why?
There's plenty. Because they take money out of their pockets.
And that's exactly it. So here's the fundamental issue, is that they have to stoke a fake culture war,
of course,
in order to be able to fearmonger people into voting for them, because they have no carrots, so therefore they can only use the stick, right? There are no positive incentives. They offer you nothing. So all they can do is instead tell you, but look over there, they're so toxic. And they don't even realize, or maybe they do, that the Republicans are doing the exact same thing from the other side. And so it's that baseline toxicity in the politics that is producing the toxicity in the culture. It's as to Peter's point, it's exacerbating and extending those lines of conflict, and it's also contributing to the toxicity in our natural environment, like literally, because neither of the corporate-owned parties will defend the environment the way that they're supposed to, right? Because ultimately, it's gonna affect the bottom line for their donors. So we really just need to opt out of the culture war. One, because my thing is, and I said this in the interview just a moment ago, is that I don't expect everyone that votes for me to agree with every single one of my political positions or ideologies or philosophies. This isn't about conformity. Your elected officials are supposed to be public servants. They're supposed to be there for you. So what that means is that they're supposed to put the tools and resources of the state that you pay good taxes for into the hands of the people. And right now, nobody's being represented. And you see it perfectly in Gavin's, effort to fight disenfranchisement with disenfranchisement, right? The idea that you're going to gerrymander your way to democracy is laughable right off of the face of it. But that's the way that they work, is that there's a toxic logic at the heart of both of those parties, and we just need something that's actually about real representative democracy.
Let me ask you something like this, like a real pragmatic question kind of situation. We have our county sheriff here, who I'm not usually a very big fan of, Sheriff Tony. His name is Sheriff Tony. And that's his last name. Tony is his last name. So I not always a fan, but he made a very big statement in that he absolutely will not help ICE in any way, and that they will not get any sort of support from Broward Sheriff's Office.
Good for him.
Yeah. And so right now I'm liking that. Okay. So right now what I like is that he is what is standing between our county and what it looks like out where you are. Okay. So what I want to know is what should and what would you do, right? Like, because Gavin Newsom is nobody I would think would do anything, because what does he give a shit? But like, what could you do? Like, tell me what you do, because I know there's something you could do. I know there's something you would do.
There's so much you can do. So first, let me solve the problem that we just talked about with the gerrymandering thing, and then I'll get to ICE. The solution. So Fred Hampton said it. He said, "We don't believe you fight fire with fire best. We believe you fight fire with water best. You don't fight disenfranchisement with disenfranchisement. You fight it with democracy." So what does that mean? Ranked choice voting, multi-member districts, and proportional representation. Cornell study showed that with those things in place, gerrymandering goes away, but the Democrats will never do it because they want control just as much as the Republicans do. They just act like they don't. They have been complicit in all of that gerrymandering from the beginning. So I don't want to present a problem without also presenting a solution, because I'm no longer just a social media personality. I have to have answers, not just criticism. So that's number one. Now, the answer to what you're asking. As governor of the state of California, I am not going to obey or comply with any unconstitutional federal order, which means that every single law enforcement officer and lawyer in the state of California is going to be a wall between the people of California and ICE. I'm going to utilize the resources of the state to defend the inhabitants of the state, because what's happening in California right now is the exact opposite. LAPD and LASD, both the police department and sheriff's department, in Santa Ana and in multiple municipalities throughout the state, these local municipalities have been found with their hands in the cookie jar helping ICE. And the thing is that if somebody rolls up on you masked with a gun, won't identify themselves, and tries to throw you in a van, the police are the people you're supposed to be able to call to get that, kidnapper off of you. But instead, the police are the people that are running cover and carrying water for the kidnappers. So what can you do as governor? In addition to arraying the legal forces of your state against this, I'm prosecuting any municipality that is found guilty of coordinating activities with federal thugs. And they're not even federal thugs. They're mostly just Proud Boys and corrections officers that bought an ICE costume off of eBay.
And Dean Cain.
The worst Superman.
I know, I'm sorry. It was just so ridiculous. But
the timing was impeccable. That was outstanding. I got and Dean Cain.
Right. But we need to Black Panther this shit. You know what? You want people, we have people fine. I think everybody who's, licensed to carry should be carrying and protecting their neighbors. And by the way, if I was carrying and somebody came up to me with a masked face and no identification, that's the end of them. So that's
we're gonna shoot first and ask questions later. Now listen.
I'm not armed, but that's my point. It needs to be. They're making it get to this point.
By the way, it's already happened many times. The news just doesn't report it. There've been quite a few instances where people ran up against armed folks and either
Yes.
drew down or suffered the consequences. Yeah.
Good.
So, well, I mean, let's just be clear. With this new, so most of the immigration policy and those things of the Republicans, they're still chasing deportation records from the Obama and Biden eras. I don't want to give people the sense that Trump created the problem. But the increased scale of the budget for ICE that they have brought into being now, I think that now ICE sits alongside the four major U.S. military, arms in the top 20 military budgets on the planet. So ICE by itself is one of the top 20 military budgets. And if you can't see the problem in empowering, a Gestapo police force, in that way, like if you can't see what that's headed to, and the thing is that you have resources, and what's Lil Gavin doing to fight back? He's making nasty memes or not even making them. He has a social media person who's making nasty memes for him.
Well, he has a
podcast.
He does have a podcast now. So, he's speaking out.
Yeah, I remember because he was talking to Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon on that podcast.
He's building bridges. He's building bridges.
Listen, Peter, you said it earlier, like, you didn't say these words, but this is where your words led me, was here. Katie Porter is just running to become the new Gavin Newsom.
Right.
Like that's all she's doing. Like even the progressive veneer of Katie is gone. She's sold off now, but she's got to pretend. And she actually, said on stage, well, I don't take any corporate donations or PAC donations. My people were on the internet in seconds with footnotes and chapter and verse on Little Miss Can't Be Bought over there, when in fact, she's taken a bunch of money from different liberal Zionist PACs and other PACs as well. So they're all dirty. And all I really have to do to win, especially because the field is going to be divided amongst a bunch of different Democrats, is that they're all Gavin Newsom as far as the rest of us are concerned. All you are going to get out of any of these Dems is more of the same. And nobody in this state is okay with it. On that SEIU stage, I said, somebody had said California is the fourth largest economy in the world. And I took the mic and I said, they say that California is the fourth largest economy. I said, are y'all feeling that prosperity? The whole room was like, no. And I said, why? Because we're number one in wealth inequality. And unless and until we address that wealth inequality, then whatever these folks up here on Team Blue are talking about is pure nonsense. Yeah.
What level of authority does the chief executive of California have when it comes to certain policies that have been in stagnation for quite some time? California is not as bad as Florida when it comes to for-profit prisons, but it's still a huge problem. And then, of course, you have the statewide single-payer healthcare system, CalCare, which has been proposed.
Yep.
We're not getting anywhere in Washington as far as being able to pass a single-payer healthcare system. However, if there is a state economy that has the bandwidth to handle the initial stages of implementation of a single-payer system, it would be California, which in the long run would save hundreds of billions of dollars to the state. So where do you stand, and what could you actually do as the commander-in-chief of the state of California?
So there's two separate questions. I'm going to just take the executive authority piece, and then I'm going to come back for the healthcare. The executive authority piece is in the state of California. Executive authority is pretty extensive, and one of the most important places that it functions is with appointments. The governor has massive appointment power throughout the state bureaucracy for all kinds of regulatory functions. And you can also declare emergency. You can essentially declare an emergency. So the healthcare question is related to this. First 100 days, you can see this on my website. First 100 days, we declare a public health emergency inside the state of California. That allows us to bring in right away on a provisional basis the single payer health care that the people of California have wanted for 30 years. And this is a really, really crucial point. In 2006 and 2008, the Democrats passed single payer health care when Schwarzenegger was governor because they knew that the governor would veto it.
Right.
Purely performative. And ever since then, they can never get it passed. Well, you can get it passed if you have political will to pass it from the governor's mansion. The word from everybody, all of the insiders, was in 2022, the votes were there. And then the Democrats had $2.7 million from the insurance industry laid on them, and they pulled the vote. So they wouldn't even bring the bill to the floor for a vote. Well, if you have political leadership in the governor's mansion that's actually about delivering for single payer health care rather than holding it back, that's the part where I stand up and take it across the finish line. So we bring it in as an emergency measure right off at the top, and then we pass that because that thing has needed to be passed for a long time and the votes have been there. It was just a lack of political will. Now, to your point about how this works, people have not done the math and they don't understand. 70 cents on every healthcare dollar that's spent in the state of California right now is already footed by the taxpayers. And 30 cents on every healthcare dollar in the state is going straight to insurance companies and middlemen. It's going to the Brian Thompsons of the world, right?
Not anymore.
Won't somebody please think of the chief executives of the for-profit health?
So, but just think about this. When you put 70 and 30 together, that gives you 100. If you just cut out the middleman, you're already covering healthcare inside the state. So if you bring a public healthcare option online as an emergency measure in the first 100 days, people are not going to want to give it back, especially when it is comprehensive of vision and dental and mental health care and addiction treatment. Folks are not going to want to give that back, and especially when you have had the votes to get it passed in previous cycles, you just go ahead and get it passed. But the thing is that good health is also good for business. General Motors spends more on healthcare than they spend on the steel for their vehicles. What's going to happen to commerce in the state of California when the state covers healthcare? I can already see all of the small businesses that are going to come running to these beautiful places in California. Because why? as a small business owner myself, I can't compete with big corporations that can offer health care to their employees. If I'm going to hire somebody, they're going to have Cobra, and that's not cutting it, right? So all we have to do, literally all we have to do, is do what's right for people, and it turns out that it's also right for business. It helps rebalance between the large corporations and the small businesses, and then it also draws business to the state across the board. So it's a win-win, and the only reason why it hasn't happened is because the insurance, the healthcare industry doesn't want it to happen, and they keep paying off, the Democrats to make sure that it doesn't.
I think he will obviously be a very impactful candidate. Of course, raising capital is going to be a huge part of that. I think I'm sure you're doing it, but honestly, this is a barn burner campaign. This is a town to town campaign.
Yep.
We all know the parts of the state that are being ignored. Quite frankly, I could say it's the Central Valley, but the reality is it's every part of this vast state that is not within 10 miles of the coastline. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
That's where all the Democrats and the Republican focuses on. So as soon as you get away, from basically San Francisco, the central coastal region of Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo, and then obviously LA and San Diego, there are a vast swath of parts of the entire state that get no attention at all. And there's millions upon millions of people out there. And the people that are going to go there to try to get their votes, they have no interest in them. They're just like, we need your vote, give it to us, and we'll make a couple of bullshit promises along the way. I think that you could build up just a tremendous amount of grassroots support that can be generated over the next 10 months that can ultimately see this through. I think if you get to the general, you will have a real shot at pulling this off.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. We already have that infrastructure. So I mentioned our volunteer coordinator has been onboarding people, and we have the state broken up into 8 regions with roughly the same number of voters in each of them. We've got ground teams already on the ground in all of those places that are entirely volunteer now. They're doing it for the love because they're the local organizers and activists. They're the people that are doing rapid response. They're the people that are doing mutual aid in their community. And they see in our campaign a political arm of the work that they're already doing on the ground. So literally, we're going up to Humboldt. Like nobody, that goes all the way, up north. People don't do the work. We're not leaving any voter unturned because so that coastal elite, ideal is something that the Democrats, are just hopelessly committed to, right? But I don't think that you just leave the redder counties of California alone, because we recruited so many voters from traditional Republican voters. I'm not just coming for the Bernie Trump voters. I'm coming for Trump voters, because I'm going to be honest about the Democrats selling you down the river, which is they did. And we had in the last 2 polls before, in 2 of the last polls before the presidential election, we were getting more Republican voters leaving Team Red than we were getting Democrat voters leaving Team Blue.
Well, that's because the shift ever since the early 90s with Clinton and the third way, the shift really has happened. The working class voter on average is in the Republican Party. They're not in the Democratic Party. And I mean, listen, I can't even begin to imagine the swath of voters that are just hanging around out there in San Bernardino and Riverside in particular, that are just waiting for somebody to come and really say what needs to be said, regardless of whether it's a left or right or even central ideology, as long as it's one that is not rooted in corporate special interest money, which is essentially what everybody else is doing. And look, I want to bring him up. He is not a serious candidate in the sense that he's going to win, but we have to address Steve Hilton, because at the end of the day, I think the same situation that occurred with Garvey during the general last year is the same thing that's going to happen next year. I think that the Democratic establishment,
that's their strategy.
They are going to pump so much money up his ass and make him look like a relevant candidate that he's going to have a chance to win. And there has to be an effectual call out to this, because Adam Schiff funded his own opponent to face in the general election. Katie Porter and the Dem establishment, they'll do the same thing to make sure that they're facing Hilton and not facing you. Is that something you are prepared to deal with as we go forward?
Listen, we are. I'll be, blunt about the fact that like we've been very successful with fundraising now, not just in the Muslim community, but like even we just had a young leftist, do a max donation for the
Nice.
For the primary. 36K is the max donation. Yeah. I mean, and we've got, literally hundreds of people, maybe up to thousands now pouring in, monthly. So we know that we have to build the capacity to fight them in the air. But the thing is that they cannot beat us on the ground if we continue to follow this game plan. So I'll just give you an example. First organizing meeting with the folks in San Diego, right? A bunch of DSA and PSL folks that we're seeing in our campaign the chance to really get, some progressive, let's just face it, socialist policies in the door. That was a meeting of a dozen people, just a few organizers, put on the first event, 40 people at the back of a nice barbecue restaurant. 20 of the people that were there signed up to be volunteers for the campaign, started training other volunteers for the campaign. I go back down to San Diego and I walk into the event at the Hillcrest Library, and it's standing room only, 150 people packed outside of the door, because people are hearing the message and they're telling their friends, they're like, this guy is not run by those corporations. This guy is not run by AIPAC. And I'm just telling you, I understand that the way that I communicate can be a lot for people, but I've been doing this my whole life and it's worked, right? I'm just going to tell the truth. I'm going to be who I am, and the chips are going to fall where they may. But I'm telling you, there is a lane in California for a Black Bernie message without the liberal Zionism. And that's all it actually takes, is just some basic working class politics, because everybody knows that the current status quo is just not serving working people. And because I bang so hard on the Dems, it works in this weird way, because one, the independents and Republicans love hearing me bang on the Dems, right? Yeah. But also, the liberals live in California, where the Dems have had 60 years of essentially uncontested power. And we know what monopolies do. Monopolies, when you face no competition, you become really bad at everything. It's like you pointed out, Katie Porter's never had any real competition. The Democrats have not had any serious competition. Well, we are coming with serious competition. We're going to give them a run for their money, because like Fred Hampton said, the power is in the people. And I love the people, and you can't fake that. When you get me in a room of people, I'm there to serve the people, because I don't have no aspirations to become a career politician. All I want to do is to make people's lives better, because I've lived under some of the worst circumstances that this country has to offer, and I've had to fight for every last little thing. And I don't think that anyone should have to climb out of what I had to climb out in order to get to this position. Everybody should have a fair shake when it comes right down to it.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on that people have a problem going to Humboldt County, because I got to tell you, as a very prolific cannabis user my entire life, that would be one of the first places I would want to volunteer for you, would be in Humboldt County.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Going to be calling you out there at some point.
You do know that that's like where some of the greatest cannabis has always been from.
I mean, listen, so I converted to Islam at age 15.
So you don't really know.
Well, no, hold on. I was going to say, I didn't quit smoking weed until I was 20. I'll just be,
oh my
I'll be honest about that.
Oh my God.
I fought, the street in me for quite some time. You know, and
You're
was
ruined for me. You're
was up
ruined.
and down. Listen, I live
I'm
live
never
life
gonna
like
see you
everybody
the
else.
same.
So I can tell you, I was clean for a good long time, and at age maybe
Oh, look at
18
you.
or 19, you know, I was going through some things, and you know, made some bad decisions. You know, so you know, but I don't smoke. So you'll have to tell me all about it.
I'm
but I
just
won't
telling
know.
you, back when I was at the University of Colorado in Boulder, and this was back, 88 to 92-ish. And one of the places, and this was, of course, way before legalization, but one of the places we got the best product was from Humboldt County. I'm just saying. There's some good
the people are ready. The people are ready for real change. The people, you guys see the show. The people are ready for revolutionary change. They're ready for the thing to be flipped open, and you know, the populist messaging that you take to the masses is the door that actually opens, you know, for real fundamental structural change. If we break the duopoly inside the state of California, it never gets up, and that is the beginning of, you know, genuine revolutionary change in the United States of America. It's not going to come just through electoral politics.
Oh no.
That's the reason why, if you go to my website, it says mutual aid, direct action, and electoral politics, because the idea is that a political party is supposed to be used to help channel the people's energy from mobilizing around issues to organizing against systems. And that's what I'm turning this campaign into. It's a tool for the people's liberation aspirations to be achieved, but it is not one that is operating in isolation. We're providing support and amplification for all of the revolutionaries that are doing the work on the ground. But between being able to appeal to voters who are not ideological, while also standing 10 toes down to the liberation soldiers that are doing the work on the ground, we are going to build a political organization that has not yet existed.
Last thing before you go, we would be amiss to not talk about your fellow Muslim brother who has created a political earthquake, to say the least.
Yes.
Obviously, the only criticism I'm sure you have of Zohran is that he is running in the Democratic Party.
No, I have another one. I criticize some of his hiring choices.
Oh, that's
hire Cuomo's comms director. And I find that very fucked up. But
well,
anyway.
I got good comms directors, including some Zios I hired recently.
Exactly.
Listen, he is very likely going to win. I think he's run a phenomenal campaign. And obviously the most significant, I mean, I've been saying it, we've both been saying it. It doesn't even matter if he gets into the governor's mansion. The impact he had. Mayor's mansion. I apologize. Well, you know, 6-1.
Gracie Mansion.
But to get to City Hall and to have the impact that he has had, to me, is kind of, it pales in comparison to the primary campaign that he ran, and how he beat back the Israel lobby with everything that they had to try to take him down. The fact that they said his name wrong, the fact that they addressed him as a socialist and a Muslim and an Indian and all these things, and it didn't work. And not only did it not work, but he kind of won handedly, and he's probably going to win the general handedly. What have you learned from Zohran's experience over the past several months that you are ultimately channeling for your own campaign in California?
Yeah, we brought in, you know, an entire new comms team and social media team after we watched what Zohran did, to really harvest the lessons from that, and that is responsible for you know, the beginning of a new rollout for a lot of the communication strategy, because what Zohran did is the demographic that was most politically active in that mayoral primary was the 18 to 24 age group.
Yeah.
And if we can get that group engaged, see, the primary on June 2nd is buried, right? It gets low turnout historically because people are not prepared to vote at that time of year. So if you can get motivated groups and specific segments of the population, and all you have to do to get to second is to get to second in order to stage a one-on-one against the Dems. Yeah, they might try to pop up Hilton, but he's a lousy candidate and he can't compete with the people. And it's probably only going to take about 15 to 20% of the vote to finish second. In 2022, it was 17.7% of the vote got you second place, right? So just game this out. 5.5 million people voted in that primary in 2022. It might be 6 million this time around. If all you need to do is to get to about 20% of that vote, then all you need to do is mobilize certain core demographics, get the Muslim community out, get the abolish ICE community out, get the free Palestine community out, get the 18 to 30 demographic out, and you will clear that hurdle easily. Once that hurdle is cleared, where is their argument that you're going to turn the state red? They have nothing left to stand on because they can't fearmonger you about the state falling into Republican hands anymore. We get to second, we win the election. So the whole election for us is between now and June 2nd. And that's why we're working like our hair's on fire to build that infrastructure and to do that fundraising. Because if we're successful, frankly, it's a seismic shift. New York mayoral election is fine. California, people always say it's the fourth largest economy. If each of the states were independent republics, it'd be the third largest economy in the world because the United States wouldn't exist in that scenario, and it would be behind only China and Germany. So it goes China, Germany, California. That's the list, right? That's the top three. If you are able to bring an actual socialist agenda, anti-capitalist agenda, and a social revolution, political revolution to the state of California, you've dealt American imperialism its death blow.
Yeah, it's ready to fall. We both believe that. And in lieu of everything that is going on right now, it is kind of the perfect storm type situation. You're not just a phenomenal candidate, you're a great human being, and you're the type of person that belongs in public office. We don't say that about too many people because, quite frankly, as we know, this is typically a career for most people. This is without question public service for you. You definitely care, and that is why we are very proud to support you, regardless of what party you're in. Frankly, we want no parties, which would be wonderful, but you got to build an infrastructure. And if anybody is going to be the face of the Greens, it might as well be you. And I think you're going to do a phenomenal job. And I assume, we can hope that you will come back and speak with us again.
Anytime, man. I love y'all's show. Appreciate the support.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity, to interact with the people. Let's shock the world. Let's start the revolution out here on the West Coast.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Butch.
Links
All right,
are in
take
the
care.
description. Check them out, and we will be in touch. Thank you so much, my friend.
Yep, take care.
Bye-bye. Definitely a very special person and a very special candidate. And look, the only thing that's really impeding him is he's running in the Green Party, and there is going to be that negative connotation that comes with running outside of the two-party duopoly.
But him doing that, but I think him achieving it would be a huge step in crushing the duopoly. I mean, it really would.
If he would break. You thought Zohran's win was substantial. This would break the whole thing in half. They would never be able to recover from this.
Exactly.
Because his message works. What they fear now is that he's going to raise, $25 million. And if he does, he's going to threaten the whole thing.
Well, think of it this way. Anybody who even would have considered maybe, a few years back supporting someone like Katie Porter, where she is right now on the Zio question is unacceptable. And it's unacceptable not just to people that, for the correct reasons, for our reasons, but it's unacceptable even to some of the more nationalist people for their reasons. And in any event, it's going to really dig into any sort of, success she would have had. It's not going to be I think that this is going to be a real problem.
Earl, what you have to remember is that the night is always darkest before the dawn. If you can't be optimistic in the face of genocide, in the face of everything that's going on right now, then we lose. We cannot lose. And the reason I say this is because, as bad as it is, there is a great awakening that is happening right now. Things are changing every minute. And it is our job to use our platform to see it through. Because there are millions of people around the world, billions even, that are counting on us. If you just look at our audience, if you look at the comments section, we have a substantial, one of the greatest growth spurts greatest components to the growth spurt that our channel has had is the international support that our channel now has.
And shout out to Liverpool and Manchester. Thank you, guys. I did see you in there, and I did see our new Irish friend, Mick.
Yes.
Although that does sound extremely stereotypical, our new
Hey,
Irish
now
friend, but his name is actually Mick.
Well, in Irish culture, Mick is actually, it's short for Michael, but it's a very common name, like Mick or Mickey. That's
No, I know that. It also has been very derogatory. It's just kind of funny. But anyhow.
Patreon.com/revolutionary change. For as little as $5 a month, you could become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. We are less than 100 subscribers away from 52,000. I mean, like I said, we're moving up in the world, Jen. We're slowly but surely getting there. Yeah, you see, here's the beautiful thing about people like you. You are the only one out of almost 250 people in the chat that says this. So what that says to me is you guys really are all alone. You're alone. And you're also, the fact that you're a Guido and you're talking like that, Ian, my God, dude.
But I think he's joking. I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not. That's so funny. Israeli women are beautiful. They're not a monolith. There are beautiful Israeli women. Well, Israeli isn't a real nationality, but let's say the human beings that live there, some of them are very attractive, not all of them, but I would not label them as like somehow again, they're not a real nationality. So
well, maybe he's joking. Maybe
thank you, Hala.
But remember that the message is clear. This isn't my real. Oh, okay. Is that even your real face, dude? I don't know. Are you so ashamed of your real name? Hey, we put our real names out there. I think.
Well, maybe the Zios see the writing on the wall, like the Nazis started to, and they got to crawl into their little rat holes.
We showed that. Listen, the big clip of the night is about to come, so you guys are going to see exactly what we're talking about. But
what are we talking about? We're
going to talk about the real elephant in the room when it comes to Israel and what they've been doing and why the whole Epstein story is such.
I feel like elephants shouldn't be used in that capacity.
Elephants are one hell of a majestic creature to see.
I love them.
They're so smart. JG 1982, thank you so much for the $10. Everyone's saying the right thing, but not doing anything about it. Well, that's what we are trying to change. Yes, it's right to say it's good to say the right thing, but you have to take action. That's why we are hoping that this community grows and grows and grows, and the message we put out there inspires more and more people.
And why do you say people aren't doing anything about it? How do you know that?
I guess because people are just hoping to see some type of a revolutionary change already. I would say that that's part of it. Yalabite, thank you so much for the $4.99. If DeSantis does a 2025 gerrymandering, getting rid of DWS would be a way. Hey, I ain't going to complain. They're already gerrymandered to begin with, but let me tell you something.
I actually spoke to the person who wants to run against her as a Republican the other day on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's someone that hasn't run before, and it could potentially be a contender. And according to my understanding, she is not anti-choice.
If she is America first,
yes,
and not Israel first,
Latina.
Waltz right into West Pines.
And I told her, I'm like, unless they change the district, it's not going to happen for you right now. It just isn't. But if they did, that would be someone who would be, I would get behind a pro-choice.
I don't know.
Pro-choice Republican to take Debbie's seat.
First of all, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that we have never seen a truly strong candidate go against her that is in what is considered a trending district in the other direction. Debbie only won her last re-election by 8 points, so it's not like she is. I mean, she's still safe, you would think, but. Put her up against.
She says she has access to funds. So I don't
attractive know. Latina with funds.
I don't know what she looks like. I have not met her in person. I spoke to her on the phone.
But she speaks Spanish.
Yeah, that's her first language.
Yeah. I would say in a district like that, especially in the western part of the district.
Interesting.
That's a big deal.
I just don't think the numbers are there yet. I just don't.
How many can you convert? How many people are they're fed up with her? How many people?
Yes, but they don't come out and vote. And just like what Butch Ware was saying, we have well, I guess if this is someone challenging her in general, but still, our voter turnout is what?
It's not good, but you know what?
16, 17% at best.
Is she serious about doing it?
She seems to be, but I was like, I don't want any part of any of that. I'm not even probably going to be here, so it won't matter to me one way or the other.
Well, we'll see. Also, MTG and Vinny Oshana have more compassion than Megyn Kelly and AOC. Yes, because they're not careerists in politics. Remember, Marjorie comes from a family that has a successful construction company in northern Georgia. She has money. She's not somebody who needs this job. Whereas AOC needs this job, and Megyn Kelly is, well, I'll let Jen comment on Megyn Kelly.
I don't know. I never liked her moderating that debate whenever that was. I remember thinking that she was
a really stupid lady. I totally agree.
I actually, and I remember thinking that that was really the only time I knew her at all was from when she moderated that debate, because I don't watch. Isn't she from Fox?
Yes.
Right. So I wouldn't have known her other than that. I don't have any real beef with Megyn Kelly. I think she's an attractive person. I don't have a problem.
No, I'm not even looking at it that way. I'm just thinking that, Megyn is for Megyn. She is not, I don't think she's an advocate for what Israel is doing, but I think she's just kind of indifferent about the whole thing. Because
she's a talking head. None of those people, all of those people are on the payroll of corporate America. All of the talking heads are on the same payroll. Doesn't matter what team they're on. All the same. All the same.
JG, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. And thank you again for the $10. Misandry is now a word we never heard a lot. A gender war is the next thing. The MGTOW community promotes hate as well.
What's that?
I don't know what that is either. I'm actually curious as to what that means. So that's a new one for me.
Misandry? I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I think it's like dislike of guys. Anybody in the chat? Let us know. Any info is
that's so strange. I can't. I'm too old to absorb trivial new things. Like I just can't.
JG with the $5. Texas may lose 10 seats to gerrymandering, but gain 5 because they diluted other districts. Now those districts have less maggots. Listen, let's not call them that. There are people that are truly America first, and they're just working class people that happen to identify with MAGA, but are not identifying with the bullshit that comes with the.
But JG, yeah, and 1982. That's sort of like the deplorables comment. It doesn't help.
No.
Right? Like it doesn't help. Even if it were correct, it doesn't help.
And we're noticing it now. I mean, listen, if you really want to know who you support that's part of MAGA and isn't a part of MAGA, where do they stand on Israel? You'll find out very quickly whether they really are America first or they're just a bunch of sap cult-like members that follow Trump and whatever the fuck he does. JG 1982 again with the $5. Butch says the right thing. So does Trump to gullible people. So does everyone. I understand, brother. I know that we want to get people more active, and that is our job, is to try to inspire more people to get out in the streets and actually fight and not just say the right thing. But remember, we can also make an impact on the streets similar to what just happened in Iowa City. Men going their own way.
I don't understand that. The only thing I know about Go Your Own Way is it's a Fleetwood Mac song.
It's a very good song.
I don't, that's all I know. It's on Rumors. Great album.
Tango in the Night's better.
No, you know
just
what?
Kidding.
Said like a fucking millennial.
Just kidding.
Whatever.
But Tango in the Night is the Fleetwood Mac album that I was introduced at a very young age.
Oh my God. Objectively speaking, okay? This
Rumors
is like
Rumors is considered one of the greatest albums of all time.
It should be.
I am not arguing. I was just joking.
Okay, that's not something to joke about.
For me, it is. JG again with the $5. Thank you. Win and do something with power, or you're no better than everyone else who lied for a vote. Hey, listen, that's why there's going to be a shitload of pressure on Zohran to do something in November, knock on wood, when he wins. So I agree with you 100%. Kenman is my real name. Thank you so much for the 279 Canadian A. And you guys are all tremendous supporters. Pink Floyd's The Wall is one of the greatest albums of all time. I agree. Comfortably Numb is the best song on The Wall. But there's what?
I don't agree.
Want to frickin' argue with me about this shit?
And Wish You Were Here is
Then
my
and again with the
Wish You Were
279.
Here is my favorite Pink Floyd album.
Peter is no. I said that the best track on The Wall is Comfortably Numb.
That's fine. And I would think, and that is not my favorite album. That's all I'm saying. That you're talking about the Wall.
Okay, but I wasn't debating whether The Wall was their best album.
Okay.
Kenman with the 279. Peter is a Zennial best generation. I'm a millennial. I'm 1983. I'm the first year.
He's a millennial.
I'm the head of the class.
He wishes he was Gen X. He's like a Gen X wannabe.
JG 1982 with the $2. Misandry is opposite of misogyny. Okay.
So you love women? That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. I could. All right.
We're down. We're down for the
All
call.
right. Love women, man.
Yeah. I want people to understand that there is a reason.
Travers, I just can't with you.
There is a reason why the story of Epstein and Maxwell is not going to go away. It will not die, and it is only going to get worse. And there is a reason.
It's very funny.
That's good. No, he's good.
No, he's good.
He's our favorite Irishman in the chat. And so I want people to understand that when it comes to the issue of inappropriate behavior with children, we're not going to use the P word because we don't want to get flagged. But this is an expose that was done 5 years ago.
48 years old and wanted on charges of sexually assaulting a 9-year-old girl in Oregon back in 2000 and a 5-year-old girl in Israel in 2001. Shauna Aronson got a tip that Caro's expected at this clinic near Tel Aviv.
Who's going to call the
She's
police
with JCW, Jewish Community Watch, an organization that hunts down accused pedophiles who flee to Israel from the U.S.
They got a lot to work
exploiting
with.
a process called Law of Return, whereby any Jewish person can move to Israel and automatically gain citizenship.
It's
No
so
matter what is in their background, they can use this
Always.
golden ticket
always.
to get out and go over there.
Yep.
And you think this doesn't create anti-Jewish hatred? Of course it does. That's the point.
The ease with which pedophiles seem able to use this law as an escape route haunts victims like Mendy Hawk, who says he was abused from age 8 by a teacher at an Orthodox Jewish school in Los Angeles.
So your classroom is right here. How does it feel being back?
I was very anxious and, stressed coming back here. A lot of memories coming through my mind.
Memories of his alleged abuser, Mordechai Yomtov, who taught him Hebrew studies when he was just 8 years old.
So in the beginning, he would just rub me outside of my pants, and then I would say about 3 to 4 months later, he started going in.
Reaching down your pants?
Yeah, it's reaching down.
Why did you feel like you couldn't tell anyone?
I was scared. I was ashamed. I just didn't know what people would think of me with the whole situation.
Yomtov pled guilty in 2002 to sexually abusing and committing lewd acts against 3 other boys.
I want everyone to see this.
Gross.
Little bit of first cousin action there, Jen.
So disgusting. I'm just, this is so gross. They're so desperate to have their Jewish majority population that they're willing to take anybody. Anybody.
Imagine,
they don't care.
Think about how hard this country came down on the Catholic Church for this.
Well, that took quite a while. And even since then, let's be real, still a problem.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
A problem.
But
so,
if the fervor was drawn to this, the way that it was on the Catholic Church, I can imagine what an impact it would actually have. That I think is fair to say.
The only difference is the Catholic Church relocated people all over the world, and these people were all relocated to one place.
Fair.
Abusing and committing lewd acts against 3 other boys. He served jail time, but when he was released, he violated his probation and, according to JCW, fled to Israel with help from individuals within the Orthodox Jewish community. JCW tracked Yom Tov down and confronted him with a hidden camera in Jerusalem, where he admitted to illegally fleeing the United States with help and using a fake passport to enter Israel.
I was supposed to stay for 5 years in the same city. I was supposed to, let's see, 20 on the side of sort of thing. I was supposed to go every 2 weeks to the police station. I left within a week later.
He had this message for his victims.
I'm very, 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 very sorry.
The other person in this video is Meir Seawald, the founder of Jewish Community Watch. He tells CBS News Yom Tov's case isn't uncommon in the Orthodox community.
The same thing that's going on in the Catholic Church right now around the world, the exact same thing happens in our community. The rabbis say it's, you know what, he promised he's going to go for therapy, he's never going to do it again. Boom, he's in another community. A few years later, he's at the same thing, and we hear more allegations that the person continued to abuse children.
That's why they don't last when they go to federal prison.
But can I also point out that this is a Jewish man calling it out as well? Okay,
Yes.
so yes, okay, it's not. It's a known thing. Doesn't mean that that Jews are for it.
And often, those abusers end up in Israel. Rabbi Yehuda Oppenheimer says he unwittingly helped Caro escape.
There was nothing that raised any red flags up to the point where he was moving to Israel.
Well, I wish I could say that, but unfortunately I can't say that. So he had violated his parole, and now they were looking for him. He said that there was something in the past that had happened when he was young, but nothing had ever happened since. I've changed and I'm a different person now, but you gotta help me. I felt that I could trust him. So I wrote him a letter, and he bought a ticket, and he left.
Caro is accused of abusing more children when he got to Israel.
What was that like for you when you found that out?
Punch to the gut. It was very painful.
Rabbi Oppenheimer says the reason he came forward is to shine a light on the process of accused pedophiles fleeing, to help ensure it doesn't happen again.
Okay. So that sounds like a good faith actor.
I agree. But it's still a major problem.
Oh,
and it's a major problem now. So when you hear the story about Alexandrovich that just happened in Vegas, and how the state attorney, who's an Israeli national, amazing. An Israeli national is the state attorney of Nevada. And an actual consequential state, mind you. It's a swing state in our presidential politics. And so she was in charge and lets this guy go. Why? Because of this policy that this genocidal state has. So when we say that Israel is harboring pedophiles, they are. Thankfully, there are people that are speaking out against this, but what makes this story so important is that this video is from over 5 years ago. So this isn't something that, all of a sudden it's happening.
No. This has been going on. Brett Ratner was, look, he and
Bryan Singer.
Okay, but Brett Ratner and I are like 1 degree separated.
I know. You guys both you were from Miami Beach.
I mean, yeah. So, he's my age.
Yes.
So it's just, this has been going on forever.
Back at the stakeout, an ambulance pulls up and a man steps out. It's Caro.
That was definitely him. Oh my God. Okay.
The police are called and eventually arrive. His days on the run are over as he's led away.
Did you assault the girl in the United States? No. Did you flee Israel because you assaulted the girl in the United States? Have you ever assaulted any girls in Israel? Do you know that you're wanted by Interpol?
Yeah.
There's relief as police escort him to their car. This marks the end to a months-long manhunt.
Good. Now, unfortunately, the sad truth is that that's just one of many. This isn't just some person that is kind of an outlier. It's actually, you would consider it a crisis, wouldn't you?
I would consider it a crisis, but I don't know where it ranks next to the fact that 82% of that country supports genocide, right? So you're dealing with an entire toxic, psychotic populace. So I actually, these people are kind of a drop in the bucket. I mean, yeah, it sucks for kids that are there to have, be surrounded by pederasses, but at the end of the day, they're surrounded by genociders. So the whole country is psychotic. So I actually think that's probably the best place for them to go.
If they know what's good for them, they probably would stay there, and maybe we would never have to hear from them again. But I will tell you,
they blend. Think about it this way. That's where they blend.
But that's the thing that's also interesting about the whole MAGA movement is that so many of them are crusaders for children. There is a substantial portion of people that are pro-life that really are pro-life. Like
sometimes I think people like that are secretly pedos, but anyhow.
Maybe. But I also think that there's a lot of people that genuinely care about children. And when they hear these stories, it really makes them sick and they really want to be rid of it. And I do think that while a lot of it can also lead into the whole anti-Jewish hatred, it is important to note that there are members of the Jewish community that did their part to make sure that these sick bastards were taken down. Now, I have no doubt that over the past several, 2 years, I was going to say several months, but it's probably going all the way back to the start, that this has become a much bigger problem. Especially
Hold on, let me just answer this very quickly because I don't want Muhammad to think this. No, I do not think pro-lifers are pedos. I was talking about people that are being a lot of the people that are the most outspoken and the people that make it a point to be front and center on issues. It's often it's often the opposite. No, I don't think that regular pro-life people are pedos.
But I want people to know that there are good Jewish people out there, not just those people and not just Jen Perelman.
Oh my God.
I want you to know that there is a distinct difference between Zionist Jews and anti-Zionist Jews. Now, I know Jen's going to love this one. This is a message from one of Jen's favorite fellow anti-Zionist Jews out there. Katie Bogan has
I love Katie Bogan.
Perfect message for this particular differentiation of the ideologies.
Zionists, we're going to care so much about the liberation of Palestine. We're anti-Zionists, we're going to talk about the Nakba. We're anti-Zionists, we're going to laugh at people who are Islamophobic. We're anti-Zionists, we're going to hold the state of Israel responsible for committing a genocide. We're anti-Zionists, we're actually going to give a shit about Palestinian kids. We're anti-Zionist, we're going to think collective punishment is actually kind of gross. We're anti-Zionists. We're not going to blindly accept any information that Western media gives us about the state of Israel. We're anti-Zionists. We're going to read Noam Chomsky. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to read Angela Davis. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to keep up with the death count. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to find it really spiritually and emotionally alarming when IOF soldiers make fun of the death count.
Here's what I will say about her. She is a very cute girl. And she uses that to her advantage to spread a very positive message. So kudos to you, Miss Bogan.
Love her.
Really awesome work. But that is a great statement. And all through it, it's really, really important. But that in particular is true.
Can you wait, stop. Can you tell me, because I know I am having connection issues and literally it blocked out when you were just talking about what she had just said. What were you referring to? What was the statement?
About calling out the IOF soldiers. She doesn't even call them IDF. She calls them the IOF
That's
soldiers.
what I was saying to you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you two definitely have, there's a lot of similarities there. You see things very similarly.
Zionist, we're going to talk about the right of return. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to endorse land back. We're anti-Zionist, not anti-Semitic. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to love our Jewish allies. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to be Jewish. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to recognize that there are Palestinians of all faiths, including Jews. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to really hate Bibi Netanyahu. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to blush when people call us Habibti. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to recognize that any fascist, faith-based ethno-state is doomed to fail. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to hold solidarity marches in support of Palestine all over the world and have millions and millions of people show out. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to say from the river to the sea. We're anti-Zionist, and we're going to be committed to safety for all people. We're anti-Zionist, and we're going to do the reading. We're anti-Zionist, and we're going to do our homework. We're anti-Zionist, and we're going to take classes on the apartheid and genocide. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to make comparisons to apartheid South Africa. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to trust Al Jazeera. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to think about Ahad Tamimi. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to worry about Plestia, Bisan, and Motaz. We're anti-Zionist. We're going to recognize violent settler colonialism for what the fuck it is. We're anti-Zionist and we're going to free Gaza. We're anti-Zionist and we're going to free the West Bank. We're anti-Zionists and we're going to free Palestine. We're anti-Zionists. We're going to end the occupation. We're anti-Zionists. We're going to end the genocide. We're anti-Zionists. We're going to end the apartheid.
I love her. How could you love her? She's so cute.
But again, as I said, it doesn't matter that she's cute. What matters is that she is cute and uses it for good.
A lot of people do.
There's also a lot that don't. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
She really does care.
She's a very nice Jewish representation. Like when I think of her, I think
nice Jewish girl.
She is.
Nice
That's exactly how I think of Katie Bogan. I think she's a nice Jewish girl. That's exactly what I think of her. She's adorable.
Donna, unfortunately, that is a drastically undercounted number.
I know. I would multiply that by 10.
At least. Again, unaccounted for at this stage means dead. That's what it means. And if that's not enough, if we need to kind of bring this full circle and why we need to continue to call it out here on the domestic side and why the separation between those that are Zionists versus those that are anti-Zionists. They are still selling Gaza land in the United States. They're still doing it right now as we speak.
You're on the conservative side.
I'm on the anti-apartheid side. That's the side.
The anti-Israel side.
The anti. Oh, wait.
Does Iran want you? No! Does Jordan want you? No!
Explain what's going on inside the synagogue. There's a real estate sale.
There's a real estate sale selling stolen property, which was stolen land that was stolen from the Palestinian people. As Jewish people, we should not steal and we should not sell stolen.
You see this, Nick Fuentes, people, if you're watching? You see this? This is the Jewish man. This is somebody who represents actual Judaism.
That's about as pious as it gets.
Exactly. So this is like our most Orthodox Jews.
I'm telling you, it's all of fucking. It's the entire North Shore of Long Island. That's what.
Can I just say, JG 1982? You know that Debbie is like a troll, like a play troll, right? Like, I mean, I if you're playing, great, but like, do not get aggravated by that. But that's not a real. It's not real, anyhow. Okay.
You know what would not surprise me if that was actually like a person who works for Debbie and just does that on purpose?
No, it's not. It's Declan. It's our original Declan. I figured it out a while ago. I'm telling you.
Property. According to Judaism, if one shares with a thief, is considered a thief. And especially when this is happening while this genocide is taking place in Gaza, this mass murder of the Palestinian people is unacceptable. And the danger that the occupation of Palestine is causing for Jews. And on top of all, why in a synagogue? Why in a holy place? This is either a political move or a financial move. All of this.
It's both. It's one and the same. And he's absolutely right. It's 1,000% correct.
Real Judaism views Zionism and the concept of a Jewish nation state as another golden calf. It's another golden calf.
Oh, yes.
It's not what we're like. That's not real Judaism. So please know the difference between Jews, which is a thousands-of-year-old religion, and a Zio-ethno state, which is secular.
This is embarrassing for Jewish people, and as I said, dangerous to Jewish people as well. We should be very careful, never allow the conflation of Zionists with Jews. If one criticizes Zionists, I appreciate that, and I'll tell you why. Because I appreciate the people that define the right definition to what they criticize. Rather than criticizing Jews, which I discourage to do, I visited Gaza.
Yeah.
And they did meet me. We are here to teach the world. We are here to teach the Palestinian, the suffering people of Palestine. We are here to teach the Jewish religion and to teach the masses that this is criminal and this is wrong.
If you think that's bad, somebody actually snuck in to the land sale. Somebody got in there.
As we sneak into a Jewish-only Zionist expo in New Jersey, where Americans can still invest in prime real estate in Palestine.
An Aliyah fair.
If you're lucky enough to have a Jewish great-grandpa like Rain, you too can make Aliyah, become an Israeli citizen, and enjoy some absolutely colonial property deals.
Israel is a very small place. The difference could be based on taxes.
Israel is such a small place that the illegal settlement of Mali Adamin isn't in it, because it's in Palestine.
They're trying to encourage people to go to certain places. Are they a little bit further out, past the green line?
Yeah, they want to encourage you.
Too impatient to do Aliyah and become an Israeli citizen? Don't worry, Israel has a loophole just for you over the green line, otherwise known as Palestine.
If you're buying over the green line, like in Mali Adamin, and you're neither Israeli resident nor a citizen, there is no purchase tax to pay at all, because the Jordanian law applies there, and there's no...
Remember that name, guys. Yair Gavadi. Yair Gavadi. That's who's doing this.
Yair.
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 I thought the Y is silent. I don't know why.
Why? It's not even a real language. Yair.
It's true. Okay.
I don't know what language.
Remember that name, guys. Write it down. Find him on social media because he's on LinkedIn and he's on a whole bunch of places. This is the Zio fuckhead that is actually doing this land auction, organizing the land auction. But he's an Esquire. That means he's a smarty pants, because the official titles, that matters. Right, Jen?
Look, I'm not into it. That's why we used to go off on Dr. Jill.
Amen.
Purchase tax or capital gains on Jordanian.
That's right. Israel is using loopholes to sell Palestinian land to foreign bidders by exploiting Jordanian tax law, which is a bit like admitting that it isn't really Israel.
Because the demand is there, and they expect the demand to really go up.
You need more place for people to live.
And I mean,
and the land doesn't grow.
I
mean, it doesn't grow unless we get hold of Gaza.
Oh my God. No, that's the guy that's making the video.
Yes.
So he's mocking it. That wasn't the person saying it.
Of course, he's mocking it. As he should. That's what you should do. You should not hold back. You should be very direct. And that's ostensibly what's happened. This is the worst of the worst need to be exposed. And that is our job. Our job is to continue to do what is necessary to show that there are good people, but that the Zionist ideology is irredeemable, and we must lance it like a boil and no longer allow it to control our lives. The second that happens, it's not just the liberation of the Palestinian people. You free the Palestinians, you free the world. That's basically what's going to happen.
I like this. First of all, I like that he calls it, I don't know what that's from.
It's not real.
No. What Wiggum is from. I don't know what that's from.
You don't know what that's from?
No. What's that from?
The Simpsons.
Okay, again, we've discussed this so many times. I do not watch that. I like that he says is not real, and I have seen it, but it's awesome. Is not real is actually anti-Jewish against the teaching and is not allowed for Jews to have a state. Correct, sir. That is correct.
Joseph George with the $2. Thank you so much. That includes converts, by the way.
What includes converts? What includes converts?
Got to be a little bit. You got to elaborate a little bit more. Remember,
not sure what includes converts.
Aisha, thank you so much for the $10. I love watching you two. I'm a Somali immigrant in Minnesota. I believe we are less targeted since Israel, America's surprise attack on Iran, and the genocide on the Palestinians. Well,
yeah, for right now. For
somebody who comes from a country that we have completely decimated. When I hear people complain about Somalians, and in particular what the Democratic Party just did with the gentleman who is Somalian that was the leading candidate for mayor of Minneapolis, and the Democrats retracted their endorsement. I'm not kidding.
Wait. Who has a problem with Somalians?
Bigots, I guess.
Well, they have a problem with everybody who might be. I don't know. I didn't know there was like, and Minnesota has a very large Somalian population.
Yes, Minnesota, and they do have a very large one,
I
particularly
know.
St. Paul.
Yeah.
And of course, they have one of the best federal representatives in the country representing them. And, Ilhan, of course, is probably the most endangered federal representative in the country. Like, no one deals with more shit than she does in terms of threats.
Yeah.
Look, like I said, most people haven't been to a mosque. Most people don't know the difference between the different cultures that happen to be Muslim, even though there is this idea that they're all the same, which is not true.
Sure, a Somali, Syrian, they both begin with S. It's all the same.
Yeah, it's all the same, right? All the same. Kenman with the 279 Canadian A, Zennials generation born 79 to 83. Listen, I've read different accounts. A Zennial, millennial.
What the hell is a Zennial?
What, there's like a bridge between Gen
No,
X?
No. I reject that entirely. No. This isn't like horoscopes where there's a cusp. You don't get to create a whole thing because you wish you were in Gen X. Either you are or are not in Gen X. I'll take gender fluidity. I reject that generation fluidity completely. No.
And I just checked on AI. They say that technically millennial is 81 to 96. So I am definitely a millennial. Like that much is assured. And Gen is definitely Gen X. Gen X.
Oh, with a J, I am Gen X.
That's true. We really appreciate you all being here this evening. Our guests for Thursday have changed, so we're going to figure out a new guest for Thursday potentially, or maybe it's just a chat 'em up type situation. We'll see what happens. But we hope you guys enjoyed this very fun conversation this evening. Jen, did you enjoy it?
Butch Ware was here. Again, it's brilliant conversation with with man candy attached. It's gorgeous. Are you kidding me? I love it.
He is a handsome fella, and he's a great candidate, and he's doing a hell of a job. If you guys do like these conversations, again, remember to go over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. Before we go off the air, I'll let you guys know where we're at. We are, at this moment, exactly 80 subscribers away from 52,000. We have grown in about a week's time, almost 2,000 more subscribers. I mean, that's, like I said, considering what this channel was for such a long time.
Here's the problem, though. Which one of us would even keep the plaque? You could have it if you're in a fixed location. If I'm in my
actually, I think if you get that sort of like log cabin in the woods type,
I'm not having a log cabin. I am not Abraham Lincoln. I'm not having a log cabin.
No, but if you had like a home like that had the kind of almost like a cabin feel to it, with the wood and stuff like that. And you had like a studio and you had this, kind of like cool setup where like right over your shoulder, there could be the plaque. Like I would, again,
we'll see whichever one of us is more permanently fixed if we ever reach that point.
Yeah. We're not slicing it in half. That we're not going to do.
No, because if I could have it in half, then I could have half of it now. Because for 50,000, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. But nevertheless, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you share the stream. We've got lots of great content coming, as you always know. Oh, you're in distress, all right.
Jimmy Zindam. How about a boat? I don't do boats. I'll do boats that are docked and stay overnight on like a boat, and I'll go on smaller boats, like out in whatever, but like big ships, no, that's not happening. I'm not sleeping on a moving Petri dish like that. No.
You know, usually when we get to the end of the show and we're trying to exit, we're not able to because we get more super chats that show up. So we are extremely grateful, as always, for Teresa for your $5 super sticker. And we are grateful for everyone else that is a contributing member, supporter, etc. of our small but mighty channel. We love you all. We appreciate you all. We will see you Thursday. And
Free Palestine.
good night, guys.
Bye, everyone.